there, my name is Zandra Evans. I'm the founder and CEO of Zandra TV Network, located in Dallas, Texas. I'm here today to talk to you about the importance of your digital footprint, but more importantly, why streaming TV really does matter for you as a small business. So, I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story because when I talk about this, I need you to understand why I believe that you have to leverage streaming technology now. You can't wait. I'm a 40-year corporate vet, and I have never worked but two companies in my whole life. I had two companies that I worked for. So I'm extremely loyal. But about 4 years ago, I got the golden handshake. And when I did, luckily, I had an exit strategy. So what I did is I blew the dust off of that exit strategy and began implementing right away. Now, I did all the things that I thought I wanted to do. I became a published author and a best-selling author. I went through and talk about this, that from there, I ended up getting an invite to Comcast Cable. From Comcast Cable, I got an invite to yet another level of streaming on Chromecast and Apple TV and so on and so on. And today I own my own network. And so I think about my history, and I'm going to tell you where I made some flaws, the things that I don't want you to do when it comes to digital, technology and making sure that you've got that footprint in place. When I first started in business 4.5 years ago, everybody was telling me that I needed to be on Facebook. I needed to be on, every social media platform known to man or woman. And I was just totally convinced that I don't need that. My name is Zandra, and that's enough. I'm enough just being Zandra. But little did I know that I needed social media platforms. So I lost 8 or 9 months in my business when I first started because I revolted. I'm not doing it. I don't have to do it. My kids were saying, get on streaming. You got to get on social media. You got to do this. And so I did. And, needless to say, and I know I'm talking to some people out there right now that maybe feel like I can't do a Facebook Live. How would I do a Facebook Live? And so I'm going to tell you that you can. When I first started, I had to do digital component. What happened? Businesses close, businesses are crippled. They're not able to really move forward like they should. So moving forward, I want to encourage you that you need to have a digital component to your business. Now, a lot of times we think as small business entrepreneurs, especially, I'm going to market my own business. I'm going to do all of that myself. Listen, in order to be good in this digital society, you're going to need people that are good with a digital footprint to help you digitize your footprint. And what I really mean by that, a lot, we could talk about digital and people go like, what does that mean? That means that people are now using Google more than ever before. So your search engine optimization, SEO, I know you've heard of it, actually needs to be on point because that's how people are deciding whether or not they're going to work with you. In fact, if you go look up Zandra Evans or Zandra TV Network, I'm probably the first 8 or 9 pages of Google. That is because I've decided to really step in and lean into digital technology. So I think about, my, kind of leap forward into streaming TV. I call that my Blue Rose moment, and I'll call it your Blue Rose moment as well. What I really mean by that is we are so conditioned to see red, yellow, and white roses that when a blue rose shows up, it's kind of different, right? It's peculiar. Your blue rose moment is when you're willing to step into something that is unconventional, something that is not comfortable, and learn how to be comfortable in uncomfortableness. I've learned to be comfortable in uncomfortableness and really learn how 2 lanes. The first lane is any small business entrepreneur needs to be interviewed on TV. If you haven't been interviewed on TV, you need to be. But I encourage you to look for places to be interviewed that are on streaming technology. Now, you may say, why? Because people are ingesting information on streaming TV. Come on, you got to get on board. It's the new thing. In fact, it's so new that you need to be an early adapter. you should adopt this. This is something that will be good for you and good for your business. So we focus on small business entrepreneurs one to one. We believe that there's so much power in gaining knowledge about this industry. So we help to educate. We do that, and we do that affordable for small business. So anything that I've talked about, we can do it all. It's a wonderful thing. But here's the other track. What if you decided, I want to be a producer? Guess what? You could be a producer on TV. That's your blue rose moment. It might be your blue rose moment to be a producer on TV. I don't know. But I can tell you this: we have a TV and media incubator where we can help you understand how to be a producer, how to monetize your content. Small business entrepreneurs, I want you to know we are leaving a ton of money on the table by not entering into streaming technology. And it is the best way to digitize yourself and to really create that digital footprint. So I would love for you to think about, how are you going to package yourself in 2021 in order to change the outcome on Google? Let's just start there. Change the outcome on Google. Put your name in and see what happens. I'm gonna give you another tidbit, and most of y'all probably know this. If you haven't bought your name off of GoDaddy, you need to go buy it. Like, run out of here right now. Just go get online. You know how to toggle. Get online and buy your name. Your name is important. And so that's another way to start digitizing, because you can create a landing page or one-page business site that actually has your name in it, like ZondraEvans.com, right? So that's another way to be able to digitize. So digital technology is here. It's imperative that you take, you know, really take notice on what's happening. Most of y'all have some device in your home. You either have Roku, you have Amazon Fire, you got Apple TV, you have something. Don't you want to be seen on those platforms? This is what this is about. You need to figure out how to really change your landscape and get out there and be heard, be seen, and grow. That's my motto. That if you could be heard and you could be seen, I guarantee you that you'll start growing. The other thing is, international presence is important. And so wherever you decide to start, to lay that digital footprint for yourself, make sure you ask the questions about international visibility, because that's important. The other thing is, and I'll tell you this little tidbit, I call it, get down with OPP. What is OPP? I know y'all remember that old song, down with OPP. Yeah, you know me. Well, guess what? OPP means other people's platforms, and people will get to know you from their platform, because why? It's their audience. You want to leverage their audience so that you can scale and grow. You need other people's audience in order to do that. And by the way, by being on different podcasts, by doing interviews, by doing all of those things, that is going to help you to create that digital footprint. But listen, if you ever be on a podcast, always ask two very critical questions. Are you going to create marketing literature for me to advertise? That's number one. And number two is, how will I get my recording? That recording is golden for you. It's golden. That is your intellectual property and knowledge that you can download in your system and use snippets throughout the year to market and advertise who you are and why you're here and what you do. So I'm excited to be here at the Black CEO Iconic Summit. I'm glad to talk to you about why streaming really does matter, and that your digital footprint absolutely will make a difference in your business. So take heed, and until I see you the next time, I want you to continue to be the absolute best you. Peace.
Hey everybody, it's JJ Conway, and today I want to welcome you to the most profitable panel you have attended all year. Secrets to your most profitable year. You're gonna learn how to make this the most profitable year you've had, no matter what you are facing in your life. And to help you do that, we have two phenomenal guests. First, I'll introduce LaSonya Berry. LaSonya Berry is HR thought leader and CEO of McPherson Berry, an industry award-winning firm that provides HR consulting services, leadership development, drive diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, and capacity building solutions to grow organizations. LaSonya has been a leader in human resources, an author and speaker that helps businesses and individuals achieve their full potential by increasing sustainability, driving operational excellence, minimizing risks, and building leaders for over 15 years. McPherson Berry made the exclusive HR Industry Leadership 500 Excellence Award for programs specifically for diversity and STEM. LaSonya is noted for developing the next level programs for increasing diverse leaders in the workplace and in business. She serves on various boards, including the National Association of African Americans in Human Resources, Manpower Group Supplier Diversity Advisory Board, the Carolina Virginia's Minority Development Council, and the Advisory Board for Diversity Professionals Magazine. Next, we have Dr. Alana Cook, who is passionately known as Lady Alana, the comeback coach. She helps individuals bounce back from catastrophe. You're gonna go from catastrophe to comeback, y'all. 25 years of experience in healthcare she brings to the table. She specializes in healthcare administration and staffing. She owns a home health staffing and a health and wellness spa. And if that wasn't enough, she is also the multi-talented queen of multiple streams of income as the designer of the Anointed Rags clothing line, y'all. She is the pastor of the Power of Christ Ministry alongside her husband, Bishop D.B. Cook. She is a board certified Christian counselor and certified life coach. She's the real deal, y'all. There is so much more to her story, and you are going to be inspired of how she overcame adversity, divorce, and homelessness, and bounced back from all of that to live out her calling, helping you overcome any obstacle that you are facing. This is a power-packed panel, and you are going to get pure gold. Grab your notebooks and let's go. Thank you for joining us, ladies. Please tell us a little bit more about yourselves.
Thank you so much, JJ. Again, I'm LaSonya. I'm happy to be here. Key thing that I want to share with everyone is for me is the fact that I'm a first generation business owner. So no, I'm not coming to you with these years and years and passed down businesses. No, I got the bruises on the elbow, but more importantly, I got the successes that'll teach you how to do things and not make the same mistakes that I did so that you could be more profitable.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Great. Good evening, JJ. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm Dr. Alana, as you said, passionately known as Lady Alana, the comeback coach. I have overcome adversity and truly I learned how to do this thing. I might look cute in my heels, but my knees show the scars from being bruised and being knocked down. And I'm so grateful that I have learned how to go from the ashes of life and I have taken that, stepped up from it, and I am now walking in prosperity. And so, what I do is take all of the adversity that I've been through and I teach you how to be creative in taking your mess and turning it into a message and living out and walking out your promise.
All right, all right. And that's what so many more of us need to do because we get caught up in the mess and we don't realize there are options and there is a way forward. And I like what LaSonya said earlier about I didn't just inherit something. I
Yes.
built it. I built it. All right. And so what we want to talk with the first question that I want to ask you guys about today, I want to ask you about what caused you to go into business for yourself.
Ooh. You want to go first or you want me to go, Doc? Dr. Dr. Lana?
Listen, I've always been an entrepreneur. I watched my mom, although she worked for other people, she was a master stylist and she was working, as they called it back in the day, kitchen beautician. And I didn't realize until I started having that fever, working for some top corporations during my first marriage. I've been through three. During my first marriage, I decided that I knew that it was something different about me. So while I was working with corporate America, going to school full time, newly married, there was something extra, some thirst on the inside of me. I was always creative, and so I started doing all of my creative stuff and realized that I can get paid for the other stuff. So it began to birth. A business, and I didn't really call it business at that time. I called it getting paid for a hobby. Um, and so I've always been in business since I was, I think, about 13 years old. And so it just became instinctively natural, that I just figure out how to make more money doing what I was doing.
All right. Well, I'll say for me, I probably had a little bit more of a non-traditional, traditional route. So I'm from rural South Carolina. So my biggest thing was to leave that area and get me a job that could take me to something else. So I grew up in an area where it was all about hospitality. So either you were cleaning somebody's house or you were serving and cooking them food. And I vowed not to do either of them. So I went to college, got a degree in engineering, got a degree in HR, went to work for the big, the best, the brightest, GE, HR, and then worked for IBM. That was my last stint. But I always knew that I wanted to do something different and build a legacy for my family. Not knowing with time, didn't realize how important this legacy was going to be. So I stepped out of corporate. As a matter of fact, they didn't even want me to leave. I had just gotten a leadership award and I decided I was ready to go. But they were like, no, go take a leave of absence. So I took a 3-year leave of absence to go start my business. But they didn't already know I'd already started my business, but I was moonlighting while that last couple of years. But I had the support to really help me do that, because I was still supposed to be taking a leave from IBM, working on my doctorate degree, started working on my business. But in the midst of that, I lost my brother. So we are only 2 children. He didn't have any kids. So I was the only person to take on the family name. And so me wanting that desire to have this business and building a legacy, I did not realize really what God was giving me to start. So this business is also a giving back to my dad to take on the family name as well. So I want to have a place for my kids to work and build upon, but more importantly, have something in the family that will go on for years to come.
And you say that, which I
Absolutely.
think
It's a
is,
financial. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, and again, it we didn't hear the words uh, financial health and wealth growing up. That was not common language, and so we were never introduced to that. So when we were building, we didn't know that we were actually building generational wealth. We didn't know the responsibility or shouldering of leaving a legacy. We were just, for me, it was just doing something that I saw that I got paid for. As I began to evolve and get greater revelation of what my hands were anointed to do and the creativity of my mind, I realized that there was a plug for everyone in the family that they could come in and continue to allow this thing to grow. But initially, it was probably more of a selfish reason. I did not, I never said, well, no, I did. I did say I didn't want to work for anybody. And I kept saying that I was making so much money for the companies and they were really getting the greater benefit. I'm like, how do I do that for myself? And so I took all of that talent and all of those pieces and began to just, as the great woman said, intertwine that and decide to take those bricks and build my own building.
Exactly, exactly. And that's just the legacy that many of us come from. For years, my big why was making sure that my children and I never had to sleep in another moldy basement apartment on one bed, right? And then it was like, wait a second, no, this is bigger than just you.
Right.
And in order for us to do something that's lasting, and in order for us to leave that generational legacy, we have to stack good year upon good year. So let me ask you, how In what way was 2020 your best year? And
I'll start with that one. I guess, and the key thing is you hear people talk about in 2020, we had to pivot, we got to pivot, we got to pivot.
Okay.
And for me, as my business grew, I ended up going through different growth levels, but more importantly, I was traveling a lot. So when 2020 hit, I found myself at home. And you know, I'm surprised because even now it's been a year since I've been on the plane. And that's like unheard of for me and my business. So the biggest thing that I would say, how 2020 was my best year, it helped me to focus on my business. But more importantly, I found a better, and I won't say balance, but I found a better combination for being there with my kids, but still having my business. So it wasn't a focus necessarily. I had to focus on really what was important, and that was delivering to my customers, but more importantly, coming up with more solutions and being more innovative because the way we had to do business changed. So that's why it was the best year for me. Not only was I able to, pivot from that standpoint of delivering our service more so virtually and still maintain and be in business, but I got to do it by and being able to be there for my kids as well. I have two kids, one in college and one in high school, who's a senior. So did not realize how much of that family time we really needed. So that's what it made it the best year. My business kept in tech, and then I was there to have another level of intimacy, even with my kids.
Absolutely, absolutely. Pivoting was my yeah my why and my greatest tool in 2020. I remember coming out of 2019 and we kept saying that we would have 2020 vision, 2020 vision, and then we had the catastrophe, the calamity that hit. But 2020 did sharpen my vision. What it did was, as you said earlier, it allowed me to become laser sharp and very focused on ingenuity and how to become creative in providing the service, and what I did. But I also had to go and, as you said, learn. And again, I don't like to utilize the word balance because sometimes the scale requires an imbalance, and that was the balance. And so I had to learn how to go in and pivot and even become more creative. And what it did was it caused me to look in areas that had been dormant. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. I'm only providing the service, but there's a product attached to the service. And so with that, I began to expand. Now it's product and services. And I remember my master coach was saying, hey, you're writing out things to do. Well, where's the book? And I'm like, well, wait a minute. So now I birthed out books. And so again, it just caused the expansion, and it met the supply and demand, the needs of the people. They had more time to sit at home and read. And so now they're reading more. So again, as you said, the pivot uh, was my greatest. That's what helped me become more, and not only just financially, but spiritually as well. It really tapped into it forced me to tap into some uncharted territories within my spiritual strength, my emotional strength. It made me just really dig in deeper.
And I want to add one more thing to that. And here's the other thing when she said about pivoting and being innovative, it also helped me to figure out ways to be more profitable because we moved our service to more virtual, which means we cut down the travel costs. I was spending $15,000, $20,000 in traveling, getting new
Yes,
clients, going to clients. That was one part of it. So now we offer the HR services to small, medium-sized businesses virtually. So we become an extension of the team. We really start to grow that line of business. And then the other part was I got a chance to focus on not so much the services, to your point, well, and then focus a little bit more on the products. And so with that, look, I'm gonna put a little plug, is my CEO strategy planner. I was able to create and
yes,
upgrade products that we were using for the clients. So it gave me another a stream of income to look at with the business, not just doing the HR for the corporate side and even small businesses, but what could I do for more B2C and to help more of the business owners? That's the capacity building part of it. So if nothing else, they always say tragedy, pandemics, and things of that nature is when things are born. So that gives you time to kind of get quiet. You said it, Dr. Alana, get quiet and really get more to the core and get in line with your purpose instead of going in many different ways. We had to stop, get settled. And if you're getting settled in your business and you're paying attention, you got time to go back to your notes, hear back from your customers and what they say that they're wanting. And you ain't got nothing now but time on your hand because you can't go anywhere.
And that's still an issue. I mean, COVID is still an issue. It's still relevant right now. So let me ask you all this. What's the number one thing you think entrepreneurs should do right now to set the foundation for making this their most profitable year? I hear great strategic thinking. That's what I'm hearing from this discussion.
It is strategic thinking and being open to becoming flexible. I know a lot of times when entrepreneurs started out a race, they were, kind of tunnel vision, and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and then I'll get here. Well, along this journey, and if we've lived life long enough, you understand that there are going to be some detours. And many times people become stagnant because they didn't prepare for with the plan A, the plan B, even all the way to the Z. What will happen if this, happens? And how can I, move around this, this, and I call it a temporary, roadblock. And it's their perspective. You've got to change your perspective. Not everything is intended to, as some people say, diminish or keep you from obtaining your goals. Some things really cause you to foster your creativity and to build the strength and innovation of who you really are. When I think about it, again, when we were told to go in and shut down the doors, it reminds me of a biblical story when, the woman who said she had just this much left, the widow woman with the few mites. And so her mindset was, this is all that I have, and I'm going to perish. There is nothing else, nowhere for me to go. I don't have a husband. I don't have the resources. And so our mindset will keep us in a dying state of mind. But somebody has to come along, and you have to be willing to receive that says, hey, take what you got, shut your door, go in, stop looking at social media, stop looking at other people's fake, I would guess, built up income and built up fantasy lifestyle. Shut in the door, go in and see what you have in your home and began to look at is as a business. And what she did was, the Bible told her, go borrow some things. Many of us don't want people to know that I'm building a business and I need to borrow $5. If you can get somebody, can you loan me $5 to help build, my business? And she borrowed some Vox and went in and she shut the door. And as long as she continued to pour, as long as she continued to create, as long as she continued to utilize what was in her house, the oil was pouring. She sold them and became an instant millionaire and paid back her loans. And so when we get out of the mindset that there's only one way to do this thing, then we can keep the momentum moving forward with ingenuity and creativity. And then we can knock down, we can break ceilings, we can, knock down barriers. And so I would say to them, listen, be open to flexibility and learning, how to utilize that in the moving forward.
Right. And I would add to that, I'm going to bring out my engineering hat. I think especially when we look at being small businesses and sometimes startups, is making sure your processes are tight. I think that's very important. And so the number one thing I would say is make sure you have your processes in order, because once you have the innovation, once you realize what it is that you want to do, then you need to have the processes in place so you're not wasting money, redundancy. Right. 2, you streamlining processes, and better yet, you positioning yourself to better deliver on your processes and your product. So you got to have those processes. So taking the time, writing them out, figuring out what do you need to have happen. Or to your point, Dr. Alana, you said, if this should happen or there was a mishap, how do you make the necessary adjustments? If you got your standard operating procedures, if you got your processes written down, it's easier for you to make the adjustment rather than doing the fly-by-night thing. Because, after a while, you're going to show your backside if you don't do things the right way and if you don't have processes in place.
And you talk about SOPs, but I just wanted to tag, on that. And it'll probably spill over to one of the questions, what someone would have told me. but we don't do enough research. We don't do enough research, and having SOPs really are, having that in place really kind of leads you toward having a backup plan or having an emergency plan or having a recovery plan. Most oftentimes, we're not doing the research to do that. And so I do want, we get excited about the startup. And I like to tell us, hey, listen, remember that you're only starting small, but you're on your way to corporate. You've got to remember to think big. You only start small, but remember, you've always got to think big. So format your company, your foundation as though it's a corporation in the making.
Mhm.
And that's such a powerful principle, because we do get all excited about our new idea and we jump into it. And two things that you all talked about, not only the processes and how do the best people do things, understanding what those best practices are, but also who are we, and what are we about to help drive the business. And so understanding who we are and what we want, that's a foundation, out of how to grow this business. It has to be aligned with our character. And so, it kind of leads to the question, and Dr. Alana, you kind of alluded to it. I think back to the growth that I had over 2020. And for me, it's one of those where, hey, I had to take a step back in the business and really evaluate who I was and what is it that I want to be known for and how I can reach these people. And so when I think back, I think, if entrepreneurs would have told me anything, I wish somebody would have explained to me that before you even go and get your certifications or open up your website, you need to know who you are and what you're about, because at the end of the day, it's going to drive the decisions. And so I know that for me, that was something I wish I would have known years ago. But hey, better late than never. We're making it happen now. We make it do what it do. But what is the number one thing that you think? What is the number one thing that you think is one piece of advice you wish someone would have told you when you first got into business?
I know you say one, but it's kind of coupling to one another. Everything in line with what you said, finding out what you want to be as a business owner. But here's the key thing: fine tune your value proposition. Figure out what it is that you want to offer. Narrow it down. Start off and be an expert in one thing. Be a value add for that. Know it, really understand it from the customer standpoint, not just what you want to offer. How does it fit into the person that you're trying to sell it to or your customer avatar? And then the second thing is have a place for your money to go. When I say have a place for your money to go, when that money starts coming in, have your plan already in place as to how you're going to expand and put your money back into your business, which I did that. But the way I put it back in, I think I could have done better if I looked at how can I expand and go wide in an industry instead of trying to diversify.
Mm-hmm.
So go wide, have that money go wide instead of trying to diversify first. Once you go wide and you really go deep there, then you become and gain a greater market share. Then you're ready to diversify and go do some other things, because you will have the cash flow, you will have the money coming in to be ready to go offer something else. The problem that we have is that, especially when I got started, yes, I started out in the training and development, but then I tried to do all things, because when you go in, you keep hearing, well, no, we don't want that, we want this. Well, dang, that's what they want. Let me go over there and just do that. And before you go, you go in here. Stay true to what your expertise is, then worry about expanding and doing it. And now I'm to that point where we're doing the different facets of HR rather than trying to do it all one time, because you can't be everything to everybody. But you got to build that brand and build that reputation by being good at that tunnel focus thing.
And before we get to Dr. Alana, I want to expand on that first thing of what you say. As a financial planner, I love what you said about it, making sure you have a plan for your money, right? But
you
also
have a place for your money to go.
Yeah, but also as a financial planner, I discovered that what we want to offer the client isn't always what the client either needs, wants, or is willing to pay for. So can you expand on that a little bit about this concept of value proposition?
Yeah, so here's the key thing. Everybody starts a business to some degree because it's something they got an expertise in or something that they love to do. But remember, that's all about you. You got to figure out how is it that you can package it where it will be a value add to your customers. because you ain't selling it to yourself. You're just doing what you love to do. You got to figure out how is it going to benefit someone? How do you need to tweak it? And who is really your key customer who will be benefiting from that? Because otherwise you're just trying to market to everybody and everybody don't need it. You got to figure the time, and Dr. Alana said this, do the research. Who needs what you are offering? Forget about trying to do all of this for everybody. Focus on those key people who need, or the key customers who need exactly what you are offering. And then after that, it can expand to something else.
Y'all, she just made y'all an extra $10,000 this year. If you haven't started your business yet, you take this advice, you will be so much extra profitable. Wait a second. Even if you have already started your business, it is never too late to sit down and say, let me make sure I got my value proposition straight.
Yes.
You want to go from a hobby, you know what the IRS calls a hobby, where you're not actually making any profit and going to making 6 or 7 figures. You gotta have your value proposition. Dr. Alana, go ahead and expand.
And I can't do anything but echo. You know, the very first thing that I wish someone would say, or I would say to a budding entrepreneur, is to first sit down with self and decide. And you have to make a strong decision. Will this be a hobby, or is this a real business? We have to decide. And the IRS wants to know that as well, because we're going to have to make some succinct decisions that will determine which way. First, you want to decide if it's a hobby. Then stay true. And we're saying this again, stay true to who you are. Secondly, thirdly, make sure that you build the legitimate foundation. I have mentored, and then that will be the next thing, to make sure they have a mentor that will make sure that your foundation, your business structure is sound. Oftentimes, we're not building business credit because we don't have the proper foundation. We didn't establish the EIN. We didn't establish, the LLC. We did not build the solid foundation. And without that, anything that you're trying to build on top of it, well, it's going to crumble. It's not going to be as steady as it should be. You won't be able to get the lines of credit that will help you build your business or your brand or your product while you're trying to expand. You won't get the revenue that you'll need to acquire the things that will help your business grow. And then lastly, remember that everybody is not your client or customer. You are a great cup of tea, but you might not be everybody's cup of tea, but know that you're great tea. And so remember that. And so don't get disappointed that you've got a great product, but not everybody bites. My book that's coming out, it's called Balance the Bait. You know, everybody has bait. You've got to know which bait will bite, which people will bite on that bait. So realize, for the budding entrepreneur, you've got to know who your clients are, and your clients will pay your price because they know the value.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that really leads into our next question, because I know for me, I've had 17 different businesses till I finally found one that worked, right? One that stuck, that made me money, and people wanted what I wanted to offer. Okay. And so when I think about, the value proposition and understanding who you are, and finding mentors to help you develop a business plan. If I'm somebody today that wants to start off and start my own business, I've been working in corporate, I've been doing whatever, and I feel like, okay, I need to have a legacy that's under my control. How do they pick a business? I mean, how do you know what you want to do? I mean, you could go the JJ Conway route and try 17 different things, but that's probably not the most efficient way to do it.
Well, it's key thing. So I can't say you can't leave yourself out of it. Okay, so you got to make sure there's, back to the old saying in economic, supply and demand. Whatever you want to go in business, make sure there's some buyers out there. So which means you got to do the research. You got to find out what's out there, but more importantly, start where your interests are. Because I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna be living, breathing, sleeping, eating this business. So you better like what you're going to be going into, or what you're thinking about going, because it's going to be everywhere. You're going to have to live, breathe it. I mean, in your sleep, you're going to be giving that elevator pitch. You're going to be having your sleeves rolled up and putting the products together, making sure the services are there. So if it's something that you really don't like doing, that ain't the area you need to go into business. So if you know you're not good in finances, even though you know finances and accountants make a lot of money, you don't go chasing the money. You got to go chase the passion. You got to be passionate about what you're doing, because otherwise you're not going to sell. Because here's the part: people buy from people that they love, they know, they like, they trust. You got to have that believability factor too. So you can't always come selling something that you're not wholeheartedly into. So one, do the research and make sure when you research, it's aligning with something that you are passionate about. Matter of fact, start with that, because the reason why I started my business is because I do believe that I was sent here on earth to develop people and organizations. That's why I started out in learning and development. People hate HR. I love it. I love it. Let me help you get your business together. Let me teach you how to handle these employees. Let me help you with your employee relations. Let me help you be a better executive. I already went through it. I got the IBM award. So when I say that, I'm not bragging. I had to live it first before I could turn back around and help and teach somebody else how to do it. I came from rural South Carolina. My parents weren't managers. They were blue collar workers. And I became a white collar worker. So I had to learn how to go to college, learn what I needed to do, and then found what my passion was. I've always wanted to be a teacher. So now I'm a teacher, but I'm not in high school or college or anything, but I'm teaching people how to work and how to lead.
And that's another, when you say learn your passion, a lot of times we don't really know what our passions are. We'll say that we like it. But when with some of my mentees, I've asked them to go back to what you're passionate about. Would you do it even if you didn't get a paycheck for it? And so when we finally get the yes, what would you do even if you weren't paid to do it? And when we began to narrow that down, then we began to pull back the onion layers on, well, what is in this that is, a technique or a skill set that people now will pay for or will seek after you and can trust your area of expertise. And so we began to do basically kind of like an outline and begin to map the picture, the painting of what the business is, or what that field that they can go into. Because a lot of times, they come to me saying, I just want to start a business. Well, you do, and like you said, you have to be passionate, because I need to, and this is one of the other things. Not only will you do it if you didn't get paid, but would you continue to do it even if it was not pleasurable? Because I've got to like even the unpleasant parts of this thing. I'm passionate about it, even when it's unpleasant, even when there was a disruption, in the financial market, even when the patients or the clients are not so pleasant. Will I still be passionate? Am I still passionate about it? And I am. And so I still do. And so when we get to the revelation of that, then we can, we can pinpoint, this is where, my passion lies. But a lot of times you've got to, kind of map it out and get some revelation, because a lot of times they really don't know the difference between just, wanting to start a business and where their area of passion lies.
Right. And then so many of us get knocked down by life, or we get the life of us, the passion beat out of us by trying to fit in, or trying to do a job, or trying to be the perfect wife or husband or father or mother or anything, that sometimes we don't even know who we are anymore. And we just know we want to change. We want
I,
things to be better.
listen, I had a client who's, they're not, I guess, not a great leader in the church, but they're very um, visible in the church, and wanted to open up a CBD where it's legal. Not here in Texas, but it's legal. And so share the idea. That's another thing I think I would share with entrepreneurs. Be mindful of where you share your ideas, because you'll get some sharpeners, and then you'll get some people that will try to throw dirt and bury. There is a graveyard. So there's a graveyard everywhere that's full of buried ideas, great ideas, businesses and opportunities. So be mindful of where you share your dreams and your passions, because you've got some dream stealers and killers and robbers here. But find a great mentor that will help you sharpen and refocus, to get down to that. But yeah, yeah, but she opened it up, because the church people said that, she would be going to hell for opening up a CBD dispensary, and it's legal. So so now she's doing well. She's doing well.
well, I mean, I think of, I didn't, that's not where I thought you were going with that. I just thought about all the times that I tried to share my ideas and people were like, okay, you've had 17 different businesses. Why is this one going to be any different? Right. Like that's where I thought you were going. But we have to be careful, if we want to start a business, we do have to be aware that, if we've got a habit of not following through, or if we've got a habit of not believing in ourselves, or if we have a habit of chasing the money, I think you said, and we're just chasing the money. And then when it gets tough, we don't have the passion to push us through. We don't have that big why, right? Not only does everyone around us get used to, they're not going to be about nothing, but our own subconscious starts to acclimate to that. And the next time we have this big idea, it's the subconscious goes, oh, wait a second. We've been down this road before. We remember how much time and energy and money she wasted last time she had a good idea. Let's just nip that in the bud and let's just stop her in her tracks. And that's why so many of us have this self-sabotage and stuff like that. But I mean, what you all are giving everybody today is a fantastic blueprint that they can use to either start their business or take their existing business up to the next level. And regardless of the path that we are on today, we have so many different CEOs on this conference today. Regardless, there's going to come times where we feel overwhelmed. When y'all were talking about the business taking over your life, I thought to myself, yeah, it's like that baby that's nursing. You take it to bed, you take it, I remember the days of holding my son, trying to go to the bathroom in the gas station. I mean, that's what the business is like. It's there all the time. So how do you keep from getting overwhelmed when you've got all the demands of running a business and you've got your personal life and you don't even get 5 minutes to yourself? How do you handle that? What gets you through that as an entrepreneur or as a CEO?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna take a deep sigh on that one because I can so relate to everything you said, because when I started the business, my children were younger and I thought that would be a prime time to start a business, kind of like the stay-at-home mom. Let's get this we already wear multiple hats. I'm gonna call it like it is. Women,
Anyway.
we wear multiple hats. So the key thing is for me, one of them we said already, there's no such thing as balance. Some's gonna get more time than the other. What you need to do is make sure you're rotating that on a regular basis. So one won't feel like it's getting more time than the other, but something's gonna get more time than the other. So there's not gonna be a balance. That's one part of it. The second part will be is having you a trusted group of advisor and support system. For me, for the last, God, we couldn't believe it was 10 years. We call ourselves the Black Pearls. We're all business owners. It's 5 of us. None of us are in the same business. We started out as a mastermind. No, we started out as a prayer call on Friday morning. Wow. That prayer call then evolved into us doing prayer over our businesses, to masterminds for our business, to even being there for each other personally. So we are just like a group of Black women who are business owners who've gone through all the different facets of life. We're all different ages, different businesses, experiencing different things. But every Friday morning, except for the last 2 weeks of the year, for the last 10 years, on Friday mornings, y'all hear me, right? Started at 7 a.m. We're there for each other. And it started out for an hour. Then when COVID happened, we moved it to 8 o'clock. We were like, we got to get up that early. We ain't nobody going in. But we dedicate that time to support one another. Not be there just from a business standpoint, but being there from a personal. So when you can find that trusted group of people that you can share what's going on with your business and really be there for each other and trust one another with what you're sharing, to me, that has been the biggest thing that had helped. Because there are many days that I got up that I wanted to quit. There were days that I got up and said, oh, Lord, did I do the right thing? There are days that, you get up and it's like, well, wait a minute. What do I need to do with this customer? And then here you got Friday morning. You can always count on Friday morning. If you can't wait to Friday morning, you can pick up the phone, call any one of our, we call ourselves Black Pearl, call one of the Pearls and have that conversation. Even if they're on the phone, we text one another. Whatever it takes, we're always there for one another. But if you can get a good core group of advisory group to really kind of help, I think that has been very pivotal to being a business owner and personally?
Yeah. For me, it was communication with my close circle. I had to the bishop and I, this is my third, his second, and he says our last. I won't be allowed to get married to anyone else. But when I first started, my children were young, and so I wasn't able to communicate with them what my goals, what my aspirations, and really what mommy was doing. They would see, because I was, bivocational, working in corporate America and building my business, still having to be a very involved mom through all of their activities. They traveled, they were on select teams, so I was traveling. Then I had to, balance the travel with them. And I remember when I started having them to come to work, I had to have a conversation with them, explaining to them what my goals were, and told them there were going to be some times that they won't understand why I had to do this or why I had to do that, but know that it's for an end goal. But I remember my sons then were like, well, mom, you got to remember that we're a priority too. And so that made me understand that I had multiple priorities, and I had to prioritize the priority. And in different seasons of my life, the priorities would then shift, but the communication needed to remain the same so that my family understood what was going on. They were my core group. I've got a core group of girlfriends, my sister circle, my husband, my sisters. And so they knew what I was going through. And although they didn't understand entrepreneurship, they saw my passion. And so they respected, and they would come in at times when if it's like, if I'm staying at the office late hours, hey, what do we need to do to come help you? Because we need some sister time with you. So we'll come and help you. What can we do to so they began to shoulder some of the things. And so it made me become more verbose in sharing my areas of need so that they could help support me. And then I can just, and to get some things done. And then there would be some balance. But then after, then this last marriage, when I got married to Bishop, he was just like, hey, there has to be a cutoff time. I understand that you're 24/7 an entrepreneur, but you've got to remember that you are a wife, you are a mother, you are a daughter, you are a sister, and we need some of your time too. And so I just remember, I've got to remind myself that I do have to get off the clock, because my husband didn't marry an entrepreneur, he married a wife. My
Hmm.
children did not, they didn't ask for an entrepreneur. They asked for a mom. They were gifted to a mom. My sisters knew me as a sister, not as an entrepreneur. And so I had to understand the balance and the roles and responsibility of the gift of being all of those people to those people. And truly, again, I just know that God will take really good care of me. I do have to get off the clock. I do have to get off the clock.
Ooh, that was an ouch amen moment right there, because you just brought something else to my memory. The other part that I would add, and you're right there on it, is we just have to remember you got to disconnect. You're not going to get better. Your business is not going to get better if you can't disconnect, reflect, refresh, and refuel.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that you got to do that sometimes with your family or whatever. You can work,
Yes.
work, 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 but sometimes you're not being productive because you're so much in it,
Absolutely.
you having to step back to get rejuvenated. Okay. And then, so like you said, not just having the right people too, but just taking that downtime and making sure you don't, and I hate to say it this way, but not losing your family in the midst of, because
Yes.
I don't know if I shared that with you. You talked about it. I ended up getting divorced in the middle of it. And the other part to that is, and which is key, like you said, you got married, he was looking for a wife, but not only that, for your success in your business, if you did not start your relationship off being an entrepreneur, that's going to require a lot of discussion. And people say they support you, and it's not that they don't, but they don't understand what it means to be an entrepreneur,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
because you're
And
learning it yourself. But you also see, because you've been so invested in it, you also
absolutely.
see what it's going to take, because as you're getting out here, you're learning, you're going to classes, you're meeting with other entrepreneurs, you're learning. It's like how you just said, you jump out the window and barrel the parachute while you're going. That's really what you're doing as a business owner,
Right.
especially when
Right.
you're a first generation business owner. But what is going to have to be key is that you're going to need to have those conversations And the part that I would say is make sure, and you can't control other people, that you have that level of honesty in your relationship, that they understand what you are sacrificing and that everybody is on one accord. And we know about the Bible and God and being on one accord. You got to be on one accord, because the business gonna do well for do well. Then sometimes the business gonna come up short. So it's like
Listen,
we got to ride the wave while the wave is going. Because right now there's a wave going like this right here with
it
this
is.
pandemic. Okay, it is what it is. But to me, this is the key thing I try to tell people who are married to folks who are not entrepreneurs or don't really understand it. It is no different than you being on that job and you got that check, I know, every 2 weeks, but then they knock on your door, because I don't did it, because I don't laid off a lot of people in corporate America. When your number is called and you told to pack up and you got 2 weeks, or they give you 30 days, what's the difference? Everybody has to make the pivot and the adjustment. So if you can really help your significant other really understand that, but help you keep you grounded, and they're paying attention and know when you need to disconnect, and you understand it when they say enough is enough and you need to stop, and give them time, not stop the business, but give them time, then that's what you need to do.
Mhm.
And they do, which is super awesome. I got permission to be on the line tonight because this cuts into, you know, we made some, agreements. I remember when we first were, got married, and he was like, why is that text, that phone? I mean, getting text messages and alerts, because I wanted to be on top of everything, and I got the alerts. And so the phone has to go off. It goes on D&D at certain times. My sons are now young adults, but even now they're like, Mom, well, we're coming over. Mom, we want to go riding. Mom, they force me. Sometimes, my husband really gives me a hard reset. Oh no, we're not doing anything. We're going out of town. You're going riding. And so I'll have to do a hard reset. Now, with entrepreneurs, I'm just like, oh my God, how many emails have I missed? Did I miss any big deals? Did I miss any calls? Oh, did I miss an opportunity?
Dr. Lana, wait a minute. I even bought the charger to go in the car, that I could plug my laptop up into the charger, into the cigarette lighter. We're riding on family vacation, and I'm sitting up there like this. I'm driving, going, or coming back. Which one I'm doing? Whatever one I'm not doing, I'm working.
So yes, so yeah, so yes, we do have to, communication was key. And so if I would share that with a budding entrepreneur, you've got to communicate with your key support, and you've got to be able to define your support, because oftentimes, people that want to genuinely help support your business or support you during your birthing and building of your business, they really don't know what that looks like. They don't know what that is. And so that like I said, so communication is truly key during your building and birthing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know I had to chuckle when y'all were talking about getting permission and making sure that people understand their importance, because this is fun to me. Building a business and helping people with
Absolutely.
money, like I love it. It makes my heart sing. I'd much rather do this than watch TV. But I
Guilty
got I
pleasure.
got three guys out there that are like, Mom, you said you were gonna do this from this time to this time. And when you're done, you're gonna play Xbox with me. And when you're done, you're gonna spend some
Yes,
time with me. And so,
yes.
we negotiated. I had to come to the thing with my husband. I said, okay, I need one night. I need one, because I was a military single mom for a long time. I got divorced when my son was 3, and I was single for a very long time. And so I got used to doing things my own way, and having to adjust to having this person in my life now. And I forget which one of y'all said it, but when he married me, I wasn't really an entrepreneur. Now I was trying to get out of $800,000 of debt, but I was doing a lot of things, but I wasn't the boss lady.
Yeah.
I was doing this network marketing and that network marketing, and I was working for this person and that person, doing a lot of side hustles, but I wasn't large and in charge. And now it's like, no, 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 no. Even when I'm watching with my son, if I pick up that phone, oh, he give me that eye.
Yes.
And I have had to communicate to them. So I found one way that I communicate to them is I give them commission. So you have to turn your Xbox off while mom is doing her panels and while mama's teaching her classes. Well, I will give you a cut of what I sell. So if I sell a $500 course, if I sell a $2,000 course, if I sell a $10,000 course, the small courses, they get the cash, but the big courses go towards his truck fund.
Yeah.
Like it's your commission for your role in helping my business and the sacrifice you have to make
Yes.
for helping my business, in addition to the free labor he gives me, which kind of leads into the next thing. So we talked about building that support system to help with the overwhelm, and then also letting people that are important to us know that they're important to us, making sure they show up on the priority list. Okay.
Yeah.
But aside from that aspect, how do we stay focused in our business with all of the distractions of business, economy, political landscape? I mean, I'm in financial planning, I'm not in politics, but I couldn't do my business without addressing the politics. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't move forward. And then I started, y'all might identify with this. I do financial planning, but then I was like, well, I'm gonna go get me a diversity training because people need that, and we need this, and we need that. And I was like, okay, wait a second. At some point, I need to stay in my lane and find somebody like Lasagna who can be the HR person and bring them in, instead of me trying to be all things to everybody, because the
Absolutely.
opportunity is there. And
Right.
everybody else is
Absolutely.
saying, oh, 2020 so bad. But you ladies have proven the point that I experienced, that 2020 was my best year. There was so much opportunity that opened up and is still opening up in 2021. So how do we get that opportunity without getting distracted and spread too thin by all of the opportunity?
Right. And so I still say go back to your core. Like for me, I like to say this pandemic has really put HR to the forefront, because right now everybody pulling on HR for everything. Oh, what are we gonna do about the pandemic? Oh, we got people working from home. And I'm like, now I don't have to fight. Oh, now we got your ear. Okay. So it's about staying true to your industry. So it's like looking for those new opportunities in the area that you serve. That's how do you stay focused. For me, from that standpoint, that's going to be very key. Or better yet, looking at what's happening and stepping back and looking at your business. What is it that you can add to your business to be a solution for what you hear and the challenges are? Okay, so it's not necessarily about changing. It's about almost, we talk about sometimes when we're doing capacity building programs, talking about making sure you got like an innovation and a research area of your business, where you're constantly getting information about what's going on in the industry, so you can be focusing ahead to always stay in business or be providing a solution. Because especially if you're dealing with large corporations, they can't pivot as fast as you are. Sometimes they're not keeping abreast as to what's going on, and you can do that and be that for them and come tell them what could happen. But the key thing is looking at everything as to how it applies to your business, not necessarily how you can change. Don't get me wrong. You hear people say all the time about diversifying multiple streams of income, but sometimes that's hard if you're not staying within your true core. So I got multiple streams right now, products, services, right? But all of it is up under the umbrella of HR.
Absolutely. I couldn't say that any plainer. But staying true to your core. It keeps you anchored. And again, just like a tree with roots, it's one trunk, but several roots underneath that's causing this tree to stand tall and to grow. And so, and always focus forward. It would be easy to stay distracted by all of the distractions, if we don't look beyond the distraction. The distractions for me are kind of a great indicator of where we need to be looking for solutions. Problems always present opportunities for presenting solutions. And so when we see all of the distractions, for me, I'm like, how do we fix this? How do I serve in this? What part of my company or my business would be a problem resolution in this area? People are getting stuck in their homes, and they're not having a lot of me time. Well, how do I become a solution to that? Provide them one-on-one private opportunities to come into the spa and have your own one-on-one me time. It's a solution. So I'm always focusing forward, using the problems and the distraction really as a leaping board, a launching pad to get to the next place or to the next phase, because I want to kind of redirect them as well from being, stirring around in the problems or stirring around the politics. I literally just disconnect from the politics. If I really want to know anything, my clients tell me the latest and the greatest, and I'm hooked in with the CDC. I really don't watch the news. I really don't watch the politics. I don't watch all of the bantering and the fighting, because I'm an end results girl. Y'all can swim in the mud, but I'm trying to figure out how do we get to the clean clothes and the cute shoes. I don't want to deal with all of that. I'll let y'all fight, but I'm on the other side trying to, pull you into a resolution, because I do know that if I have a problem, people will pay for. I mean, if I have a solution, people will pay for it.
That's right. They
So
sure will.
yeah, they'll pay
And
for
it's
the
also
solution.
a way of collaborating as well.
Absolutely.
Like if I knew that there were a lot of scams that came up. So for my podcast, I brought in other experts that normally I wouldn't have brought in, because I knew that people needed that. They
Right.
needed that reassurance. They needed to know what to do. And I knew it wasn't going to be profitable for me to develop that in-house. So I found people that I could collaborate with. But I tell you what, I need a spot of myself one day. I need to come and visit
Come
you.
on down to Five Star Body Bar. Where again you get 5-star treatment. Yes, absolutely.
That's all right. All right. Well, we got one more question before we get our last remarks. And I'm gonna spring this on you for the audience. I did not prep them with this question, but it came up in the discussion. And we've got an all-female panel today, but I know we've got all kinds of CEOs out there. But I'm gonna talk to the parents just for a second. Okay. I'm going to talk to the parents and I'm going to ask. We talked about balancing the demands. Okay. We talked about making sure that we could stay focused. We talked about making sure we could take advantage of these opportunities without getting burnt out. Not necessarily striving for balance, but making sure everything's in harmony, as one is more important than the other, right? If you had one thing that you could leave to your children or the next generation, whether or not you have children today, what would that be?
For me, I would leave that you are born with a purpose. And sometimes it may take some time for you to peel back the layers to get to the true identity of who you are. Um, it should not be defined by things. You should not give anyone else the authority to define your authenticity. Stay true to who you are. Once you tap into the inner part of you, own it, embrace it, and walk it out.
Okay. And for me, what I do, and I'm trying to do right now with them, and this is especially to the younger folks. I think we all want to give our kids an opportunity to grow up and be kids. But if I had to do it all over again, I would find that older person. And when I say older, it's not about age, it's about more so experience. I would connect myself to somebody. If I was in my 20s, I would connect to somebody who was in their 45 and their 50s. And the reason for doing that is have your fun, but make sure that you're not missing those opportunities that you could be taking advantage of while you're young. Case in point, I'll give you this one. Um, uh, Even something as simple as buying versus renting. I bought my first house at 22. It was a condo. So rather than paying rent, I bought a house. And when you get tired of it, you know what you do? You sell it and you move on. I think there's just so many things, especially when you're talking about people of color. We don't have much time to do redos. Okay? We don't have time to reinvent the wheel and make the same mistakes over and over again. Yes, hang with your crowd, but make sure you got some wisdom and some pearls that you're tapping into so you can hear from them what they wish they would have known when they were younger, so you can incorporate that into your life. I think one of the, I have to keep up with the millennials because I do a lot with the younger generation and preparing them for being leaders. But just even listen to some of the clean, I call them the clean rappers. When you get that money, watch where you spending the money, because you can't spend the money but one time. So while you out having fun, Super Bowl coming up, you traveling here and there. But if you look at the amount of money you spend, what could you've already owned to put you at a different position? So if anything, I would tell them is to make sure you connect with somebody who's older, who's going, or you see that's being successful, so you can do twofold: have fun, but have your hand into something that's going to help pull you forward and helping you build wealth. Not making money, but building wealth.
Yes, yes, yes. You know, when we had sequestration as a division chief, I was still active duty in the military, and I had to go to all of my engineers and scientists and make sure that they were prepared for this cut in their pay that they were all going to get. And all the people in my home church, all of us they were freaking out. I'm not going to have no payment. I'm not going to pay my bills. I'm going to lose my house. And every single one of my scientists and engineers, and I was the only speck of color in that floor. All right. Every single one of them were like, I have a 6-month savings account. Why do you think I'm gonna be worried? Doesn't everybody know how to take care of their money? And I'm sitting there with a straight face, but inside my head, I'm like, no, everybody doesn't know how to take care of their money, because I sure didn't grow up with my parents having no 6-month savings account. And so some of these things we're not taught. And when we do learn them, we are taken advantage of. That is a whole nother panel that we will have to have another day. But for now, I'm just going to ask that you all close us out. You all have both given us so much gold in this session. I thank you for being here, for bringing it and helping people elevate. I don't care what happened to you in 2020. You implement these strategies that these powerhouse women gave you today, you are going to come out of 2021 on top. You're going to have more profit in your life than you ever imagined. And you are going to have more fulfilling relationships with both yourself and the people that you love. Ladies, thank you so much for being here. Go ahead and say goodbye to our CEOs today.
Yes, thank you for this opportunity. I'm just going to leave you with this, the PQ. What's important? People, processes, and profit.
Listen, life happens and you may have some raggedy pieces, but take them and build a beautiful picture. You won't have to stay in the mess that you're in. This has been Dr. Alana, which is your comeback coach. You can be great even after this.
Yes, yes. And I'm JJ Conway. On behalf of Black CEO, I want to thank you for attending this Black and Iconic panel. I'll go on out there now and make this your most profitable year ever. Y'all take care and be blessed.
Once again, my friends, this is Robert Antoinette, and you are watching live the Black CEO 2021 National Conference, Black and Iconic. And for those of you who've been hanging out with us from the very beginning, I'm absolutely certain that you have gained valuable information to help you with your business and your brand. But this is what I want you to do while you're watching. Make sure that you share this broadcast out on your page, and make sure that you tell a friend so that they can join on in and connect with the Black CEO family. And speaking of joining the family, I'd like for every person under the sound of my voice to go over to www.joinblackceo.com. Join www.joinblackceo.com. You can connect with a body of entrepreneurs that can help you to grow your business and elevate your brand, and collaborate with like-minded individuals who are in your field of expertise that can help you, that can build you, that can mold you in the way that you need to be for the 2021 new year. New year, new you. And while you're part of the family, here's one other thing that I want you to do. I want you to wear your swag, represent for the Black CEO family. So you got to go over to blackceotshirts.com. That's blackceotshirts.com. So now that you've joined the family, you've got merch and swag to represent. Here's for you, and you. This is a 7-day event. And on day 6, it will be our virtual masterclass. And during that event, there will be some phenomenal thought leaders that you will get an opportunity to interact with live. But the only way that you can do that is if you go and get your virtual seat right now. And the way that you do that is you go over to www.blackceovip.com. That's www.blackceovip.com. So that's black as in the color, CEO as in the boss, and VIP is you. www.blackceovip.com. Now, to do this, I want you to make sure that you invest in your business, invest in your brand, but more importantly, invest in you. Join day 6 for our virtual masterclass. But before we get to day 6, we still got a whole bunch of good stuff for today. So in this next pod, you're going to have the opportunity to hear from more virtual experts. One of my favorite folks that'll be coming up is Vanessa Collins. And in addition to Vanessa, my super friend from the DMV, Justin Morgan, will be one of the speakers whom you will hear in the upcoming pod. So make sure that you're connected, blast this thing out, share it out, heart it up, and make sure that you comment in the feed so that you are interactively connecting and being a part of this once-in-a-lifetime experience known as Black and Iconic. Watch this.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sharon Devonish Lee. I'm a publicity strategist, public relations consultant, and I'm also the owner of my own PR agency. And I'm here to talk to you about good PR can make you and bad PR can break you. When I was chosen to be a keynote speaker for the Black CEO Iconic Conference, I was very humble and excited. But I also was told that my message had to be disruptive. And I thought to myself, well, I'm a speaker. I know that I have to bring some type of strong impact to my audience, but I was never told to be disruptive. So I had to think about that for a minute. And then I thought, well, what better way to be disruptive within PR is not have PR at all, not have exposure at all. If that's not disruptive, I don't know what. So what I want to do is first say congratulations, and I'm excited that each and every one of you are here today. And I know all of you are either a CEO or you're looking to be a CEO of your own business, an entrepreneur, which means you are making your own decisions about your business. You are creating the destiny for your brand. So what I want to do is I really want to focus on those who are aspiring to be a CEO, or you are a CEO and you have not used media at all, or you have used it and you did nothing with it. I want to talk to you. I want you to go through an exercise with me and everyone else, but I really want to talk to those who has not maximized media at all and go through this exercise with me. So I want you to close your eyes. I want you to imagine yourself in a studio. You can pick whatever studio, whatever media outlet you have a dream to be on, whether it's Good Morning America, CNN, MBS, and NBC. Just think of what studio you would love to be in to get an interview. Now you have the lights, you have the cameras on you. The host is going over their notes to interview you. I mean, it's an adrenaline. You're excited and nervous at the same time. I want you to feel this. I want you to vision this. The camera person comes to you and says, look at camera 1 and look at camera 2. I want to make sure we have a good visual on you. The mic person comes to you and says, we have to do a mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Now you're getting closer and closer to that moment when your interview begins. You're about to tell your story to thousands and thousands of people, potential prospects that's going to learn more about your brand, what you do and how you do it. What type of expertise are you going to show? You do the interview, you landed it, you did great. You see yourself on TV, now you're really excited. People are calling you up, people are going to your website, people are going to your social media. It's a high, it's a great feeling. I want you to open your eyes. Just think about it. I just did an interview talking about my business, talking about my brand before thousands of people that I've never met. I may not meet them until they contact me. Anywhere. You could have done a local or national, but you just did a meeting, you just did an interview that literally landed you to be in front of thousands and thousands of people. I want you to feel something when you do that. I want you to feel the excitement. I want you to feel the empowerment, the confidence. That reporter did not ask you not one question about what does your product cost? Not one question about that. What that reporter did was they spoke to you about you. They spoke to you about how you are doing in your business, how your business is helping others. Doing that type of interview brings the credibility up tremendously for your brand. So now I want you guys to think about this. I want you to do another exercise. I want you to close your eyes again. And I want you to think about nothing at all. I don't want you to think about what did you eat in the breakfast, what did you have for dinner last night? What are you going to have for breakfast in the morning? I don't want you to think about anything. Just close your eyes and just see the darkness. That's all I want you to see, just darkness, nothing, no movement, silence. It's nothing. Now open your eyes. That is your business without a PR campaign. It's darkness. It's nothing. People don't know you. People don't know what you're doing. People don't know how you are saving lives or how you're changing lives with your brand or your services. People need to know what you do. People need to know who you are, why you're doing this. It's something where it's a feeling when I talk to clients, when they come to me and say, Sharon, I've done media. I said, okay, what type of media have you done? I paid for an ad. I did an advertisement. Ladies and gentlemen, an advertisement and a commercial is not public relations. You cannot tell your story. You cannot give the full in-depth about your business, about your brand in a flyer or in a paid advertisement. So I want you to really understand the difference between the two. I did those exercises because I want you to have that feeling of promoting your brand. So I thank everybody for participating in it. I know some people are like, why am I closing my eyes? I don't want to close my eyes. I want to see what's going on. But I want you, when you close your eyes, you start really doing a deep thought, a deep thought about your business, about your brand. And when you think of, when I tell you not to think of anything, that's what's happening to your brand. You're not getting the word out. You're not telling the story. Now, I know some people are saying, well, isn't that marketing? I have a marketing plan. At least some of you do. I'm making money. Or at least some of you are. Marketing is not public relations. Marketing is paid techniques that you use to drive sales to your brand. You're paying for advertisements, you're paying for promotions. When you're doing a PR campaign, you are persuading the audience, you're storytelling. You're persuading the audience through unpaid, earned techniques to believe in you as a brand, to believe in your story, to believe in your confidence. When I reach out to media outlets, I have to create the story for them. I have to create a pitch, a message for them to buy into it, to say, I want to do that interview on that person. That's excellent. Yes, when can we schedule this interview? I did not pay for anything. And my client is now going to get an interview talking about their brand and their services and how they can change people's lives. Now, I know what you're thinking. What are some of these techniques? Traditional media, TV, radio, print. Those are some of the techniques what we use, what you can use. Anyone can pay for an advertisement. Community engagement, that is so important. That is a form of public relations. Speaking engagements like this great platform. I am talking to you about how you can get media for your business, why media is important for your business. These are opportunities that you should use to help grow your awareness, show your expertise. You're not selling products, you're not selling services. You're selling the dream of how you can change someone's life with what you do. That's all public relations. That is all public relations. And I really want you to think about it, because when people come to me and they say, and I tell them I'm a publicist, oh yes, I need marketing. And I have to stop them. Wait a minute. Do you need someone to drive sales to your business through paid advertisements? Yeah, that's what I want. That's not what I do. I have to sit down and I have to learn about you as a person, and I have to learn about you as a brand and a business. And then I have to study your industry. So there's so many dynamics where it comes to just doing business and getting media. So many dynamics to it. But once you learn the techniques and how to do it, it's a 1, 2, 3 thing. Remember, people do business with those who they know, trust, and can relate to. So if you don't know obviously you don't know these thousands of people, but you probably they're relating to your story. They are relating to the point where they're like, oh my God, that's how I felt. And this person went into this business and now I need their services. Let me break it down a little bit more for you. Public relations does multiple things for your brand. It builds your credibility within your industry. You could be doing the same thing that someone else does, but different. So your credibility now is here when the industry is here. And that's happened. You are now building a brand awareness. You didn't have it before. If you're doing paid advertisements and flyers and these commercials, it's not the brand, it's the business. They want to know what the brand is. They want to know who you are. Why are you doing it? You're increasing your prospect list. If that's not important to you, I don't know what. And then guess what? As you increase your prospect list, you are growing your profits. All of that is wrapped under public relations. You're building your brand awareness by going out into the community, by speaking engagements, by doing media and interviews. You're showing that you're an expert. People don't want to do business with people who don't know what they're doing, what they're talking about, who doesn't have a platform, who doesn't have a track record. You're showing your expertise. Public relations creates the illusion, not the illusion, it creates the sense of, this is what I am. This is what my business can do to help change your life. And you have to learn how to use it. You have to use it. There's no getting around it. So those of you who have not used media, those of you who have used it and didn't really maximize on it, please don't do it anymore. We are in a new year. We are in such a different time. Now is the time to utilize media. And I'm going to talk to you about how it should be for you to be newsworthy. So when you think of PR, don't just think of driving sales to your business, which again, don't get me wrong. We are in business to make money. I get it. I'm the same way. I'm in business to make money. But you should also want to show how you and why you are making an impact on touching lives, why you are making an impact in changing the trajectory of people's lives, people's livelihood. You want to control the narrative of your brand. And honestly, you can only do that through storytelling, which is another word for public relations. So before I close out, I just want to give you guys 4 major tips in how to be newsworthy. And it's very simple. Look at the current times. What is the media reporting on? If your business fits within that, put a pitch together. If your business brings an awareness to a particular situation, put a press release together. Send a message out to a reporter about what they're writing on, and you have that awareness and you can pitch that to them. That's newsworthy because they're focusing on that, but they didn't know that your business actually brings more of a spotlight on it. If your business provides a solution or solves a problem to an issue, that is newsworthy. And I always call this the bonus one, and it's a give back. If your business is, align your business with a give back, community service, non-for-profit. You don't have to go out and create a non-for-profit organization. Align yourself with one that fits your mission and vision. My business, every year, I align my business with a not-for-profit organization who around school time, they do a school give back, school supplies. Christmas time, they do a toy drive. Thanksgiving, a turkey drive. Every time they do something that's giving back to the community, I am there giving them supplies. I am there giving them support. It's newsworthy. The media loves give back. They love a good give back story. So think about those 4 tips as you're putting your business together and you're putting your PR campaign together, because that's important. If you are not fitting that newsworthy category, all of this is just in vain. So that thought that you did in the beginning, when you thought about being in that studio, when you thought about sitting there with that host and going through the cameras and the lights and action and everything, that's because you were newsworthy to them and they're picking you up. They want to hear your story. So in closing, I want you to understand that public relations can dictate how your brand looks. in the public's eye. And unfortunately, you cannot get that in a promotion or paid ad. A good public relations campaign is used to protect, enhance, and build your reputation through earned media. It can literally put you on the map and make you shine. However, bad public relations, a bad media interview can break you and give you such a bad name or no name at all. Either way, you don't want it. So I'm offering you, each and every one of you, an opportunity for some guidance and to work with me to get positive media coverage, or even just to learn how do you look to the media's eye. So I'm offering each and every one of you a 1-hour free PR consultation, one-on-one with me, to do a business assessment and PR recommendation on your brand, getting exposure for your business. All you have to do simply is just go to my website, www.netstruckpr, that's netstruckpr.com. Go to the Talk With Me, schedule an appointment, it'll jump right on my calendar, and we have that time. I hope to see each and every one of you also at my workshop that I will be giving on getting media for your brand. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again.
They say there's no such thing as a stupid question. Well, I beg to differ, as most do others. The only stupid question is the one that's never asked. For an example, is the sky really blue? Is there truly a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow? And what can I do to cross my eyes and still be cute? Hello, everyone. I am Fianna James, also known as the branding coach and CEO of the Ask Group Incorporated. A person who doesn't feel comfortable asking questions usually feels that it makes them seem as if they have less knowledge, or that they are incapable of knowing the things that most others know in that room. What they don't know is that the question that's burning on the inside of them is the exact question that everyone else probably has in that room, but they don't want to ask either, feeling that they may be laughed at or given a weird eye stare, or just maybe they may get the answer that they need. The idea is to always be better at something, right? And the only way to do that is to ask that question that's burning on the inside. Your goal is to always grow in wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, for that's how we actually succeed in life. The anatomy of the brain functions like Johnny Five did in Short Circuit. It needs input. As information is funneled in and out of the brain, it grows, it gets bigger. By the way, that process indicates a pretty functional brain. In this essence, ladies and gentlemen, there aren't any stupid questions, so just ask. What is the worst thing that could happen again? You'll be laughed at? You'll be talked about? No, you'll have more knowledge and a better understanding of what you're trying to accomplish. I remember growing up as a child, and after having been punished, there was this burning desire, this burning question for me to ask my parents. And that was, hey, Mom and Dad, can I go outside and play? Now, mind you, I knew the answer to that question. It was going to be a no. Why? Because I had already gone outside to play while being on punishment. However, there was another instance where they just wanted to be alone, have their time. And I had been doing something I didn't have any business doing. So in that moment, I took my chance and I asked them, Mom, Dad, can I go outside and play? And this time they said yes. In this instance, my mission was accomplished. I received the answer that I needed and that I wanted. I wanted to have fun. Proverbs 8 and 12 speaks of witty ideas and inventions. This holds true to business as well. This can assist by asking questions. You can have assistance in planning a business, promoting your business, growing your business, and prospering in business as well. However, one of the many brick walls that we often hit is that we don't know the correct questions to ask, or we don't feel comfortable just asking that question or asking for help. So today I present to you Just Ask, the blueprint, which includes 3 easy steps. The first tip or the first step is to just simply jump. Oftentimes we don't take the effort to make that leap or take that jump because there's fear there. I recall when I wanted to start my very first business, I was in college, and there was a sense of fear. What if I fail? What if no one asks or needs my services? What if they feel that I'm too young to actually give them the quality service that they need? Well, I proved everyone wrong. I started my first business at the age of 19, doing marketing and branding and helping others start their business. And my revenue that year was $250,000. In asking, in taking that jump and taking that leap, I found sources and resources that were available to me, a woman of color, that assisted in further growing and expanding my business. I had to have faith. You have to also trust and believe in following your calling and your passion, and all things will work out for your good. Yes, obstacles will come, but the gift and skills you have will overcome and sustain in the most difficult moments in life and in business. Tip 2, don't quit. Meaning quitting is never an option. There were moments in my business at the age of 19 where I wanted to give up. There was months when I had clients who didn't want to pay, or it was just hard finding clients. However, quitting was never an option. I was determined to succeed. Aids and assists us in further advancing in our business. If you don't quit, you'll appreciate your business more, and so will your consumers. They will feel your passion. We will feel your passion, and therefore it will resonate with us, causing a greater demand. The third tip is to always just ask. Do not be afraid to ask for help if you need assistance. Ask for money, especially from the ones who owe you. 65% of Americans desire to own a business, but have no clue where to begin. What should their legal structure look like? Should it be a sole proprietorship, a partnership, or corporation, or LLC? Do I truly market and brand my business? Is social media the actual most positive or best way to promote and build my brand? Or do I have the gift of the gab to sell my services and my products? Asking brings knowledge in, and it's a scientific fact that the brain grows. But you knew that already, right? As a matter of fact, the NAIS, which is the National Association of Independent Schools, stated cortex of the brain are billions of tiny nerve cells called neurons. The nerve cells have branches connecting them to other cells in a complicated network. Communication between these brain cells is what allows us to think and solve problems. When we learn new things, these tiny connections in the brain actually multiply and get stronger. The more you challenge your bond, or even impossible to do, like speaking a foreign language or doing algebra, and yes, starting a business becomes very easy. The result is a stronger, smarter brain. So my challenge to you is to be stronger, be smarter, use that brain, and just ask. Thank you.
Most authors are thoughtful, caring. However, when it comes to business, they are a disaster waiting to happen. They only promote their product, their book, when it's first released. Then they give away tons of product, their books, for free without any regard to the well being of the person that they have a business. They call back in the day, and I'm dating myself here, a bald headed stepchild. But it's not their fault. They don't know any better. Many authors do not have other successful authors in their families. They are what I like to call first generational. They didn't grow up like the children of Jim Rohn or Zig Ziglar, who understanding intellectual property. And when I first published my book in 2009, I definitely fell into this category. Had no idea, have no idea sometimes, the power of our message. Yes, I knew it could be life-changing. And yes, I knew I could impact the world. But what I didn't know was how to make that impact happen. It took me several years to figure that out. I published my first book, Intensive Faith Therapy, in 2009. As most authors, I did about $2,000 of 4 intensive faith $500. From there, I got speaking engagements, and that birthed my first coaching program for writing. After it was all said and done, that first book results with my last book, Chief Executive Author. Over the last 3 years, the online courses, the coaching programs, the membership programs, and the mentorship programs from that book has generated over $175,000 in revenue. So after 11 years and over $250,000 from products and services created from books, I've learned a few things. People will buy your solution if they find value in it. We all have a wealth of knowledge that we haven't completely tapped into. And the quickest way to organize that knowledge is to write your book. But here's the other thing. A message that isn't generating revenue is a message that isn't impacting lives. Impact requires a transaction, and transformation requires an investment. So stop looking at your book as just a book. It's a business. It's a business you get to grow. It's a business that isn't someone else's dream of impact. It's yours. You need to understand that once you decide to write the book, once you decide to impact and transform lives with your message, you are no longer just an author. You become a chief executive author. Now, this, of course, is a play off of the word chief executive officer, who is charged with maximizing the value of the entity that they lead. Well, as an author, you are the chief executive officer for the entity you have created, your book. Just as corporate CEOs are responsible for making sure that the products and services offered by their companies maximize profits, the author is responsible for the same. As the author, you are in charge. You determine how successful your book is going to be. Unfortunately, most authors do not have the resources that corporate CEOs have. However, that doesn't relieve you as the author of this responsibility. You must make your book successful. So I would like to share with you today a framework that I have used over the last few years that has allowed me to generate hundreds of thousands of dollars from my books and the products and services generated from them. But it's more than just about the money. I have helped hundreds of clients achieve their goals and impact the world. This framework is what I call the Digital Mastery Profit Blueprint for Business Books. Let's start with the book prep. This is the first part of the framework, and this is probably the one that most authors miss. Book prep isn't just about researching content for your book, but it is more about making sure that you understand the problem your book solves. Your book isn't about you. Yes, I know it's your story. Yes, I know it's your life lessons and your point of view. But in order for your book to have an impact on me, I must be able to see myself in your book and resonate with your message. This means you need to find out as much about me, your target audience, as you can. This is also a time for you to get your house in order. Once you launch this product, your book, you must realize that every book launch is a product launch. Okay, let me get that clear. Once you do this, you may not have time to clean up your digital house. Now is the time to look at your social media profiles and get them updated. Look at your content. Do you need to clean up or remove some posts? Now is the time to do it. Next, it's time to write your book in a timely manner. If you've been working on your book for longer than a year, you need to get help. Writing your book should take no longer than 3 or 4 months. Many of my clients, including myself, have written powerful books in 30 to 45 days. Publish your book. Once it's written, it's time to publish. Now, you have so many options, including traditional publishing, vanity publishing, where you pay someone else to publish it for you, or self publishing, where you learn how to publish it yourself. Now, although I co own two publishing companies where we have published over 30 authors with 50 books, I recommend that you learn how to self publish yourself. I've helped hundreds of authors learn how to publish their own books, as well as coach and publish other people. And there's one major reason for that. The number one question that you're going to get as a new author has nothing to do with your book. The number one question you're going to receive is, can you help me with my book? How you answer that question will determine how much money you leave on the table. Promoting your book. Now, here is where the rubber begins to meet the road. How do you let people know that you are open for business, i.e., you have a book to sell? The more importantly, do you have everything in place to receive customers? Are you going to have a book signing? Will you have a virtual book launch? Do you have a payment system in place to receive orders? How do you become an Amazon best-selling author? This is where you have to put your business hat on. Product creation for authors. You wrote the book. Now what? This is where you must learn how to turn that book into profitable products and services. This includes your online courses, your coaching programs, your workshops, your workbooks, and even high ticketed implementation programs. Now, I mentioned being an Amazon best-selling author earlier, but let me dispel a myth. Being an Amazon best-selling author means absolutely nothing when it comes to having a successful, life-changing book. You can have 20 people buy your book, your 99-cent Kindle book at 10 o'clock at night. Bestseller rank. Now, the way Amazon does their algorithms is based on hourly sales. So if you sell more books in a given hour than the people above you on the list, then you move above the list. So you can land as a bestseller. I don't despise any revenue. You can probably agree with me that the $10 in royalties that you're going to get from $20 in sales is not going to be very impactful. Therefore, I have developed my own definition of a bestseller. So, a digital mastery bestseller is a book that has generated and the products and services generated from it. Now, while $10,000 isn't a ton of money, I'm sure that we can agree as well that you could do a couple of things with an extra $10,000 in your account. You can also create certification programs based on your book. Think of how to impact the world with your message. That's the key to high-powered impact. And then finally, digital mastery for authors. I know all of this sounds great and it sounds amazing, and you're probably saying, wow, Vanessa, that thing comes in. And buckle up, brace yourself. I am about to utter, I'm about to say that nasty 10-letter word that many of you hate to hear: technology. Let's all say it together. Technology. Technology is the key work. It is the key to your impact and how you show up, especially online. It is the key to your book production, your publishing, your promoting. It is the power behind your product creation. It is what will take your desire to impact and transform lives from a wish to becoming a reality. It knows about it. That is why technology is so important. This is the part of the framework where you have full responsibility. It's not just about being creative and getting that book out of your head and on paper. It is about being a life-changing force. With the problem that your book solves, the business problem, the relationship problem, the health problem, whatever the problem. I have the problem and you have the answer. So, what do I mean by being a force? You show up on my timeline because you've mastered paid traffic. You pull me system. So, what does this look like in digital marketing? You feel my pain. And I know that you feel my pain because the words that are on your landing page reflects the conversation that's going on in my head. You understand that I've been battered and I'm hesitant about taking a big leap. So you draw me in and you provide an answer for me that gives me a quick win and it builds my confidence. But you don't abandon me. You don't just leave me there. You continue to cultivate the relationship with your email marketing, your live streams, and your webinars. And when the time is right, you provide an choice, an irresistible offer. And when I take that offer, you deliver above and beyond what I expect. And my life is changed forever. But even if I don't take that offer right away, you wait for me. You remain constant. You continue to show up because I see you growing. And when I'm finally ready, whether it's a month from now or 3 years from now, you're there to finally show me the way, and my life is changed forever. This is what being a successful chief executive author is all about. Your books, as it has done for me, but the lives you are able to impact, and in turn, the lives your clients can now impact, is beyond measure. You inspire hope, you motivate change. You are truly a life changer. That is exactly what the world at this time. I salute you, my chief executive authors. If you would like a free copy of this blueprint, so you can sit down and look at this and see how you can put this stuff in place, you can get your copy by texting the word book to 502 80. That's the word book to 502 822 4560.
Work and nothing seems to be happening. So I had paid to go to a conference, and at the last, well, I have 2 sons, and any mother who has children that finds themselves at need to get away. So I said, no big deal. Wasn't sure if I would know anybody because I was going by myself. So I went, and I actually did meet some people who I had met online. It was great to see them face to face. And as I sat in the conference, like everybody else, I picked up the program and I was reading through it and seeing all these people's names and their titles and their subjects that they would be talking about and their bio. And I said to myself, how do these people get to be on the program? How do I get to be on the program? I know stuff. They know stuff. I know stuff. So how do I get to be on the program? It really just kind of frustrated me even more. So that night, there was a special session, a pajama Q&A, where everybody could come in relaxed clothes, appropriate pajamas, and ask questions. So when I walked in the room, I was like, wow. On the stage was about 4 or 5 chairs. And it was like, this is where the Council of Master Coaches sat. And literally seeing them up there and listening to their answers to questions, that's how I felt. Like we were sitting at the feet of wise counsel. So one of the things I learned when I was in corporate America, well, I still am, was that if you're in a room, ask a question. Otherwise, you may as well not have been there. So right in the center of the room was a microphone that you could walk up to ask your question. So like other people, I wasn't sure what my question was going to be, but I had a question. So here I go, walking up to the mic. Hello, I'm Nina Abdul-Wakil. I'm a LinkedIn coach, and I heard a voice say, "You're a what?" I said, "I'm a LinkedIn coach." And then I heard the voice say, "I didn't know that. How come I didn't know that?" Now, this voice wasn't just any voice. It was the voice of the conference host and master coach, and I had been in her community for a couple of years. And she's asking me why she did not know that I was a LinkedIn coach. And I, stumbled over an answer. And she says, if I had known I needed someone to speak on LinkedIn, you could have been on this stage. Talk about a pivotal moment. I was like, oh my God. So I don't even remember what my question was. I don't remember what else I said. All I remember was making my way back to my seat thinking, how did I miss this? What was I missing? When I left that conference, the only thing I was determined to do was make sure that she knew that I was a LinkedIn coach, and as many other people knew as well. So that next year, I purposed to amplify my brand voice, my brand presence, my brand authority. So fast forward to the next year, 2019, I'm at the conference hosted by this same master coach. I'm sitting in the seat. I'm looking at the program. But what do I see? Yes, a picture of me and my name and my bio in the program. I'm sure you can imagine how good that felt. And so I'm going to ask you, wouldn't you love to feel that way? Knowing that you're on the program, you have space on the stage, but have you done the work to make your brand known? So I'm going to share with you some of the things I discovered about brand authority. So I want to share a couple of slides with you. Okay, is your brand falling flat? How to fix that? How do you use something like LinkedIn to build your brand authority? So let's first ask authority. Brand authority is identifying yourself as a brand voice, a leader in a. Don't try to be great at everything. Find your niche, become known for your niche. My niche is LinkedIn for entrepreneurs, speakers, and coaches. What is your niche? And you start to be known, and that becomes your brand authority. So what's the first thing you need to pay attention to? It's brand clarity. Clear of what your brand is about, who you serve, what you offer, no one else will be. Be clear on who you are, who you serve, and what you offer, even if that's evolving. A test for this is to put something like on, or even on Facebook, most Facebook, and say, who am I or what am I known for? People in your network should be able to tell you what your brand is all about. If you're not getting clear answers, it may be that you're not giving clear messaging. So that's the first step in claiming your brand authority. What's the next? Well, it's your brand presence. So what is Miss Nina B? Presence? I mean, we're in this present in front of people is limited. It's probably social distancing. Could I talk about what I'm talking about when it comes to presence? Well, it's to show up in front of people, even online. What is their experience with you? Are you professional but personable? Does your brand information that's online, your digital presence, show something that's polished, professional, excellence? Or does it say knockoff? Or I may get back to you? Your presence is established all along the way in all of your interactions, and specifically with your digital presence. So when it comes to LinkedIn, the cornerstone of that is your profile. You know, I can tell you how many people have said, I haven't looked at my LinkedIn profile in a couple of years. Well, the good thing about it is no one else is probably looking at it either. And if they do, they're not going to look at it long. But if you're in business, if you're a speaker, if you're an author, if you're a coach, or you're a consultant, a service provider, that is not the experience that you want people to have. You want people to be able to come to your profile and go, what can I do to work with this person? How do I contact them? And by the way, don't make that for them, put it right up front so they know how to contact you. Have a professional, polished presence. Okay, let's talk about the next thing. Your brand voice. So obviously, be able to throw your voice as you need to when you're speaking, or maybe you emphasize some things with a deep voice. That's not the kind of voice I'm talking about. I'm talking about the words and the content that you put out online. What information are you sharing that let people know that you're an authority in your niche? How do people know that they should be listening to you? And not because you got something to sell. If all you're ever doing is selling, you're losing people all the time. I remember asking a coach early on in my career as an entrepreneur, like, how do you know what to give away for free? How much do you post? How much do you share on a Facebook Live? Or how much do you put in an article or a blog post? And they say, tell it all. I said, whoa, wait a minute. I'm trying to make some money. Tell it all and still make some money. Well, the thing is, you have the accumulation of information that you have gained over years of experience and study. It's absolutely impossible for you to share all of it and someone can walk away knowing all that you. And there are billions of people on the planet that need information and possibly need that you have. So don't be afraid to give value. because value will come back to you. So what information are you consistently, and hear me, consistently putting out on LinkedIn? The algorithm favors when you are consistent and putting content. And the great thing about LinkedIn is you don't have to put content out every day. If you're consistent in putting out once a week, you're good. If it's twice a week, you're good. If it's twice a week, try Tuesday and Wednesday. If it's once a week, in the morning, 9 a.m., whatever your time zone. Your voice has to be consistently heard in order for people to start to acknowledge it as an authority voice, brand authority. Let's go to the next one. And this is the third one and the final one. Your brand engagement. I guess this is actually 4. Your brand engagement. Don't post and ghost. I'm going to say that again. Don't post and ghost. Don't post and then run away from LinkedIn. Post and engage. Invoke conversations. And by the way, the algorithm favors that, as well as you commenting on other people's posts. And don't just say, good job, congratulations, great post. Look at the post. This is a little trick. Look at the post and see if you can find you can ask or reference something that's associated with your, to engage with the author of the post and other people that are commenting on the post. Feel free to tag people to start the conversation, because that engagement is what LinkedIn wants to see happening on the platform. And what will happen is people are watching and reading and listening. They might not be the one might not be the one that comments, but they might be the one that you get the contract with. I received an email this Monday from someone I'm with on LinkedIn, and she said in the email that her team was thinking that they wanted to bring in a LinkedIn expert. And she follows me on social media, and she knew that I was the right choice because she sees me as the best. That's not by accident. And you want that to happen. Now, I can tell you that I've never really seen her comment on my posts. I know she's in my network, but I've never seen her comment on my post. But obviously she's watching. So that's what's happening for you. Someone is watching. Are you showing up? Are you engaging? Are you willing to be present? So let me do a quick recap, and then we're going to wrap this up. Your brand authority is made up of and is built upon your brand presence, your brand voice, and your brand engagement. But none of those matter if you're not clear. Your brand clarity goes first. It's been my pleasure to share with you. And I want to let you know that I'm offering you a free gift from me, and you can access it by going to missminab.com/LinkedIn Life Bundle. And it's a combination of resources that will help you to be successful and move the needle forward on your LinkedIn engagement. It's been my pleasure to be a part of Black and Iconic, and I hope to see you in those LinkedIn streets.
many people are seeing all the headlines. You're seeing all the posts, all the programs, all the courses, and your big thought is, how can I get to that 6-figure level mark? How can I get to that 7-figure level mark? How can I be balling on the beach, hanging out in high-rise condos, making all that money? That is your thought. At the end of the day, what I want to focus on here in this time is how we just get to that first 10K. How do we have the first month where we have 5 digits in the profit margin category? How can we do that? Again, my name is Justin. I'm the founder of AutomationMaster.net. I help coaches and speakers create automated systems that help them save time and help them generate more revenue. And my goal today is to teach you how to use the SOS method to get you to your first $10,000 month. Like, that's my goal. That's all I want to talk about here today, and that will be my time. So I appreciate you allowing me to be here. Appreciate being able to share with you. I know there's a lot of speakers, a lot of platforms, a lot of places you can be on, folks you can be listening to, so I get it. My goal right now is to really just give you the solid information that you need to be able to take action with. Again, take action. Again, I know you could be listening to anybody, and you've been in and heard things like this before. At the end of the day, right? Yes, I have a business. I run an enterprise. Like, I have a team. I have clients. So yes, I have services and things to offer. And certainly you can take some time after this to discover how you can learn more about how we work with you. In this time though, I want you to take some notes, pay attention, and most importantly, after this, regardless of whether you speak or see my face again, take action, because that will truly be the difference. And I can promise you that in this time, I'm going to give you some solid information that you can take and use. It's not just rah-rah, not just going to motivate you with some sappy story. That's not it. Okay, at the end of the day, I'm me, right? There's no fancy condo, right? As y'all can see some of the decor, I'm a big dragon geek. So I'm just a guy. Just happen to be a guy who's been in the space of automation, training, working with coaches and speakers over 6 years. I've also been dabbling in the space of trying to make money online for over 10 years. So I get it. I get what you're trying to do. I get what you're trying to accomplish. I don't have any fake prop money to show you or flash. Got no fancy car to give you, right? And I'm not in some big fancy mansion I decided to Airbnb out just for the weekend. At the end of the day, I want to talk to you, the coach and the speaker, who is ready to stop just doing this stuff part-time, to stop just making only a little bit off of the handful of clients they have, and you're finally ready to make enough where you can start to see the horizon. You can start to see the things change. You can get to that point where, again, 10K is not a lot. Doesn't change the entire world. It does move the needle and get you to that next level that you need to be able to get to operate and to change and to grow. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is what you need to do to get to that point. Because I've been where you are, right? I've been exactly where you are, right? Matter of fact, I started out as a motivational speaker. That was my beginning. And I found myself, right, at this point, I found myself standing on the biggest stage of my life, in front of the largest audience of my life, and the biggest opportunity of my life. Right? I did all the work to get the presentation ready. I did all my Les Brown studying to make sure I was going to tear it down with the best quotes, right? And I made sure my website was up and everything was ready to flow. And by the time the presentation left the screen and it fell off and I heard all the applause and I'm standing there and I finally felt like I had made it, right? I don't know if you've ever felt like this, right? That you put in all the work and you have finally been on the edge of the breakthrough. Right, and so here I am in the midst of it, because at this point the presentation's done. I'm all hyped up. I'm all happy. And here's the next phase, right? Because I didn't realize that the fortune is in the follow-up. I know y'all may have heard that. Again, it's kind of cliche, but it's the truth. So after my presentation, of course, I had to take the time to follow up with all the people who were interested in hearing from me, who wanted to learn about how this geeky ex-football player could help them change their life, right? So we're going back and forth. We're playing phone tag, right? Like a bunch of kids playing at recess, playing phone tag, going back and forth. And at the end of the day, I remember being on the last appointment, right? The last one out of the folks from that event. And we're sitting there and we're going back and forth. And remember, at the end of the appointment, she says no. Right? And no means a lot of things to a lot of people for a lot of different reasons, right? At the end of the day, no for me at that point in time meant that I got 0 sales from that event. All the work that I put into the website, all the work that I put into the presentation, all that work to put into the fancy quotes and the slides, all that stuff was for nothing. I don't know if y'all ever felt like this, that y'all put in everything, I mean everything, into what you were trying to do, only for at the end of the day for it to come up short. And so I had to do some rethinking and retooling, because at the end of that, I took a look back and I started to study what the others were doing. And I realized there are some things as mistakes I made. I didn't have the right system in place when I spoke in terms of the structure of the presentation. I didn't have the right system in place to follow with people after I got off stage. I didn't have the right system in place to actually get on the phone and sell them. I didn't have a script in place. Heck, and this is the crazy part, I didn't even know how, even if I sold these folks, because I was young, I didn't know how I was actually going to serve them. Like, I didn't have a system to serve the people. And so it was probably a blessing in that moment, I didn't really feel it, that I didn't get any sales, because I wasn't ready. At the end of the day, I didn't have a system in place. And so today, I want to speak to you, again, the coach or speaker, who, again, you may have a couple clients. You may have been speaking and doing your thing for a while. Maybe you're getting paid to do some gigs. But you really don't have the system in place. You really aren't making predictable revenue. You're still having some other career and area and expertise that you're having to rely on to make money. And ultimately, again, you still get to have that 5-figure month that you've been striving for, that you feel is out there, but it still kind of feels like that unicorn that you're just waiting to come across the sky on a rainbow day, right? Like, that's what you're looking for. That's what I'm going to talk about today. So again, what I want to express to you is, again, I would tune into these things because, look, you can do it the hard way. You can do how I did it. I spent a ton of money and energy on the website, lost time and money. I used to market my events by handing out flyers in the cold. That wasn't very comfortable. And I thought I needed to invest hours on hours in YouTube. I thought I needed to write a book, right? I thought I needed to pay to play to get on every stage possible in order to be successful. Now, do those things work in some way, shape, or form? Yes. But what I want to talk about today is a smoother way and a simpler way, and it's called the SOS method, right? So why don't you go ahead and take out your papers and write some of these things down, because these 3 elements I want you to implement today, right? So again, regardless of what you do, I just want you to promise me, again, look at me right now, promise me, say, yes, Justin, I will implement the SOS method today. Again, SOS method today. Say, yes, I'm going to implement the SOS method today, right? So make that promise, not just to me, make it to yourself. Okay, so with that being said, go ahead and write these things down. The first S is to simplify. Now, some of y'all see everything that we're doing. You may see the stuff that I do and I talk about. Okay, because I got stuff I put out there, got podcasts and emails I'm sending out. I do a weekly show, right? So I may be doing a lot. And so some of y'all, it seems like I, again, the automation expert, have this complicated thing that I rely on. And so, yeah, my way of doing things may or may not be a little more complicated than what you need. And that's the problem. That's the problem. Now, I'm going to kind of bring you into, so when I was starting out, right, so after I got done with the stage stuff, I had to go out and find a mentor, right? So mentorship's important. Getting help and guidance is important. It changed the game for me. It's the only reason I'm here today, because I decided to get guidance. Okay? I started to watch what they did and how they operated. So I got to work for some folks for a while. And I realized that they were doing far more than the other speakers and coaches at events, yet at the same time doing less. It was perplexing, right? It blew me away. The fact that they were doing more, yet doing less at the same time. Here's how it worked, right? Because they brought me in so that way they, again, the folks running the event, the two major guys running the company, could do less. So overall, the company still did a lot, but those two guys did less. They focused on speaking and selling. That was it. So before that, they focused on getting the event set up, focus on running the equipment, focus on organizing and making sure things are all set up. So they brought me and other folks in on the team so that way they could pass off all those responsibilities and then focus on doing two things, speaking and selling. And that was it. And it changed the game. They could go off and close, again, 5-figure deals on site, right? On site, because they were doing less. Ultimately, the team was doing more. So I challenge you that you should start doing less in your business. So what I want you to do, here's the process. Like this, again, I said I want you to implement this today. Take a look at your entire business, right? Like the entire thing. I want you to strip. Like map it all out. Put it all out. Just like a puzzle, right? Put it all in place. I want you to strip all the stuff that doesn't matter, right? All the stuff that doesn't matter from your business, strip it out. Like all the steps you don't need. And if you can, minimize the sales process from not knowing you to investing you and serving them to like 3 to 5 steps. But if you can get it from 3 to 5 steps, that's golden. Why do I say that? Because you really only need that to get to your first 5-figure month, right? You don't need everything. You just need that. Okay, so here was the process we did at events. We had one tool that people could opt into as they spoke from the stage. They could put out and mention a text number. They text the number, and then after that, so that's step 1. Number 2, they would meet with them. They would get their number, respond to them automatically. They would pick a time to meet with somebody on site. That's step 2. And they would sell them. Step 3 and step 4, there usually be another person on site or available either virtually to be able to onboard them as fast as possible. That was 4 steps. Mind you, right? Like there was no, again, there's some behind the scenes stuff they set up, but at the end of the day, like fairly straightforward. And you can do the same thing in your business now. So instead of this being, hey, I have to take 6 months to launch this thing, decide on the minimum steps that you need to be able to get it from start to finish and do that and get it launched like now. I mean, like today, like now. Stop waiting. Do it now, right? So that is the simplification step. The second step is to optimize. So optimization takes those simple steps, and then how can you get the most out of the least of every step of the process, right? So again, look at every step and then evaluate these areas. 1, how can you work less in those steps, right? So work comes in a couple different ways, right? Either you're working or somebody else is working. So either you're working or someone or something else is working, right? So you look at each step and say, either I'm working in this area, a tool is working in this area, or a person is working in this area. You do whatever your budget and your time and energy expertise allows. Meaning, if you're the best salesperson in your team, then you focus on the sales part and you let the rest of your team handle the rest of it, right? Or you have a tool in place for the rest of it. So you look at every step and you can see how you can decrease, right, the amount of work. Secondly, how can you decrease cost? Kind of goes along with that. Look at every step and see how can I lower the cost of this step. And then third, how can you increase the value for your client, right? When you increase value, oftentimes you can increase the amount of money that you can make, which is the 4th piece. But how can you increase value? How can you give them more without it costing you more time? And then lastly, of course, is how you can make more money in each step, right? So one great example is affiliate offers, right? So in this space of doing free content, oftentimes I'll do free content and then I'll put out a link to an affiliate offer where I can make money. Other times when folks wouldn't be making money, I can make money because I create that opportunity for myself, right? So how can you do that within the system? That's the O. The final S is to systematize it, right? It's to then take all these things, you mapped it out, you put everything down, you stripped it, now you made it simple. You optimize it. You look at every step and see how you want to reduce, increase, switch out value, cost, time, and energy for yourself. Then lastly, systematize it, meaning now you have to put the right tools, the procedures, and the people in place and then formally put it together, right, to make it operate. Now, the way that we operate in our system is there are 7 areas of automation. Won't go into them here right this second. There will be training on these things coming up, right? Or, again, you can follow us online and things like that. But at the end of the day, okay, there are 7 areas. There's lead generation, okay, communication, so communication and nurturing. Third, sales, service, okay. So lead generation, this is the ones that folks usually see. Lead generation, communication, sales, and service. Okay. After that, you have project management, back office, and then content. Those are the 7 areas of automation that we touch. Now, I can't go into every one right here this second, but those are the main areas that you, at some point, should touch in your business. Now, when we talk about the SOS method and having this happen quickly, again, really you're looking at the main core 4 that you need to accomplish and have as a part of that short system is lead generation. So how are you collecting leads and making them prospects, meaning you're putting them into some type of CRM, okay? So that could be like a active campaign, which is what we use. Second, communication. Use active campaign to send out automated emails. Third, sales. That could either be having a sales team, having something like a Calendly in place. Calendly is a tool you can use to schedule phone calls and meetings and Zoom meetings and things like that, where you can get on and they can pick a time and you can go on and sell them. And then, right, lastly, service, right? So you have to have something in place for them to receive what they invested in, or at least receive the next step once they invest with you, right? So they know what they're doing, what they're getting, and so that way it's organized. Because at the end of the day, the sale does not end at the swipe, right? The sale does not end at the swipe, okay? So that's the SOS method. At the end of the day, doing less is what made a big difference in the businesses that I was able to touch, in my business, and then also in your business. The other big factor for me and for the folks that I've worked with is just making that decision to work with someone, right? So again, if you want a chance to just figure out more about what we do, again, there's no hard pitch. Again, if you want more extensive training on the 7 areas, on the SOS method and what it means and what it does, go ahead and go over to www.automatewithease.com. Again, there's a free training there. Again, www.automatewithease.com. All right, appreciate you and all that you do. Again, go out there, implement this stuff. It's the game changer. Makes all the difference. I'll see you in the next one. Again, I'm Justin Morgan, founder of AutomationMastery.net, to help you, coaches, speakers, and trainers, create automated systems that save you time and generate you more revenue. And as usual, treat each day as a building block to a better future. Peace.
trying to be all black and influential, black and iconic. Well, I'm proud of you, ladies and gentlemen, and I salute you for being intentional in seeking the information that will help your business and your brand in 2021. And since you're here, I want you to join the Black CEO family. And the way that you can do that, if this is your first time, I want you to go over to joinblackceo.com. Since we're on the web, you got to put a www.joinblackceo.com. And if you're a part of the family, I want you to get your t-shirt, get your merch, and that is www.blackceotshirts.com. Once again, that's www.blackceotshirts.com. I don't want you to think that this is a commercial. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just want you to celebrate your blackness, and I want you to collaborate with other brilliant black entrepreneurs just like yourselves, and make sure that you're plugged in and intentional about getting the information that can help you, your brand, and your business. The last thing that I want to tell you before I turn you over to this next pod of amazing speakers is be a part of the VIP Masterclass that's happening on day 6. You'll have an opportunity to sit and listen to some of the most brilliant minds in the world. But the only way that you're going to be able to do that is if you go over to www.blackceovip.com. www.blackceovip.com. Next up is pod number 4. So we're 3/4 of the way through our day, and we have a lot to bring to you. We've got keynotes, we've got a workshop, we even got a panel discussion about what does it truly take to be successful. I know you've read a lot of books, and I know you've gone to Google University and YouTube Tech to try to find out what it takes to truly be successful. So this is your time, this is your moment, and this is the portion of our show that you want to be connected to. Day number 1 of the Digital Mastery Bootcamp. In the words of my man Chuck D, I want to remind y'all, it takes a nation of millions to hold us back. Stay tuned.
Hi, and welcome to my workshop. Thank you for choosing the workshop that's going to help you to get to 6 figures and beyond. My name is Toni Harris Taylor, and you'll meet me more in a few minutes, but I just want to say thank you for being Black, thank you for being iconic, and thank you for stopping by this workshop. We're going to get started because I got a lot I want to share with you. The title of our program is Get Known, Get Connected, Get Paid to Make 6 Figures and Beyond. If you are not known, if you are not connected, you will not get paid and you will never get to 6 figures. So today I'm going to offer you strategies that are going to help you to get to your 6 figures and beyond. Every entrepreneur, in order to have true success, must get known, must get connected, must get paid. And so I want to introduce you to the world's #1 results, keyword there, results-driven platform for entrepreneurs who are seeking real success. So now what you need to know for today is there's a workbook that accompanies this program. Make sure you print the workbook, you complete the answers, and we're going to implement these strategies. I want to encourage you to pause your video and complete the answers for each section so that when you leave here with a completed action plan based on what you've learned here today. Now, here's the problem. You have all the talents, all of the skills, all the experience, and all the education, but you are still invisible to your ideal clients, and you know you're ready to take a drastic step and you need a change. You know that you are undercharging, your products are underdeveloped, you know that you are underachieving, and you know you need to take, and you are ready to take drastic steps to get the drastic results that you deserve. So imagine what it would look like if your business could easily attract your ideal clients to fill your pipeline so that you could close more sales. I want you to pause and seriously consider, what does it look like if people were coming to you, if they were hearing your name, knowing your brand, and raising talk about how I can work with you? What would that look like? How would you feel? So let me tell you a little bit more about who I am. My moniker is the coach that sales and marketing coach. I connect my clients and experts who hate sales. Without being salesy. They're unknown. They feel overwhelmed by the whole marketing and sales process. They're feeling invisible, and they're not charging what they're worth. Now, I can relate, and it's not your fault. I felt the same way, but through coaching, I was able to drastically turn my business around. And now I have the privilege of helping my clients do the same thing. What I teach is I teach you how to speak more, to sell more, how to attract clients through networking, how to follow up like a champ, where the fortune is lost and found in the follow-up. Now, what some of my clients say about me is I'm an awesome mentor, that I share my network, my resources, my connections. I am known as the coach that connects. The number one thing that is important to me is not only that you get the knowledge and that you take the action steps and things that you need to the people that, or I refer my clients to the people that need their services. And then people say they were inspired to take drastic steps. I'm an international speaker and an international coach. I have had clients in Canada. I currently have clients in Canada. I also have clients in Paris, and I have had clients in various states across the United States. I've run several six-figure businesses, and I'm a small business TV talk show host. So excited about that. And I am certified as a Facebook community builder. I have a gift for you, and I want to make sure that you get it. So this is a good place to hit the pause button. I want to give you my video series called Networking Strategies to Turn Contacts to Contracts. The way you are going to get that is you're going to take your cell phone, yep, right now, hit pause, 22828, which is a short code, and then type the word drastic, hit send. It's going to come back and ask you for your email address. Go ahead and put in your email address, check it twice, make sure your phone doesn't autocorrect, and hit send. Before I'm done, you'll have video number 1 in the video series, Networking Strategies to Turn Your Contacts to Contracts. So let's talk about the business failure rate. It's not one that we are proud of. So in the first year, 21.5% of business owners fail. The second year, 30%. The fifth year, half of small business owners fail. And by the 10th year, 70%. I'm proud to say that this is my 10th year being in business, and I am still standing. Now, I believe, and it must be true, that most businesses fail for lack of marketing and sales. There are a lot of entrepreneurs out there who hate the sales process. They love what they do. They love being a speaker. They love being a coach. They love being an author. They love helping people. I just want to help people. But guess what? You have to be able to sell that. And if you can't convince people why they should hire you versus someone else, then you will go out of business. My mission is to help as many small business owners to understand the strategies they need to use in order to grow their business. So this workshop is for you if you've tried other coaches before and you got nowhere. You bought programs and didn't do the work. You need help because you don't have time to do it all on your own, and you want to grow your business nationally and internationally. If any of these bullets, you check off any of these bullets, sit up, get your workbook, start taking notes, and pay attention. So you're going to discover through this presentation my proven strategies to help drastically increase your visibility, your credibility, and ultimately your income. Now, I only have so long to tell you the things I want to tell you, and I'm going to give you a lot of value in a very short period of time. But there's so much more to the formula, the six-figure formula. And I just don't have time to give it all to you today. So here's what I'm going to offer you. Some of you are going to say, you know what, that was a great workshop. I got what I need. I'm good. And if that is you, I kiss you and wish you the best. Some of you are going to say, that was an awesome workshop. I got great information, but I need more. At the end, I'm going to tell you exactly how to get more. But right now, I'm going to give you all the value I can in this time that I'm allotted. So I'm going to introduce you to 5 proven strategies to get known, get connected, and get paid to drastically increase your revenue and get you to your 6 figures and beyond. Strategy number 1 is know your target market. Target market, I've heard that before. I need a niche. You need a target market. But I know what you're thinking. I can sell to everybody. Everybody needs what I offer: life insurance, retirement planning, coaching, life coaching, etc. Here's what I'm going to tell you. If your target market has the word body in it, then you have nobody, and you will not be able to sell and attract your people. So let's look at the problem. A lack of target market means there's no direction for you. Which way do I go? Which way do I go? I remember that cartoon from when I was a kid. We don't know which way to go. And more importantly, the people we need to serve don't know where we are because we're not in front of them. You're not focused on, and you're trying to serve too many people. And I get the question all the time, but Tony, won't I miss out on money if I'm so targeted that other people won't think I can help them? That's just not the case. I get it all the time. People want me to help them. They're not speakers, coaches, authors, and experts. But if it's right for me, I do a lot of work with realtors, Why? Because they are attracted to my brand. And so people who are not in your target market will find you. Your marketing material lacks focus for your buyers. So you're not speaking to anyone in particular. Develop a persona of the person that you need to be able to attract. So if you get a target market, it will increase your confidence, and you'll be able to move forward to serve your ideal clients. You'll be able to sell more at your price because you build relationships with your target market, and you will become the expert in your area so that people know to go to you for their help. So open your workbook. We're going to do our first exercise. And I want you to pause point, and I actually want you to answer the questions. Who is your target market? Now, here's a tip. You can have more than one. So, and in fact, I advise you to have up to 3 target markets, but be very specific. Please don't be general. I want to help women entrepreneurs. That's still too broad, right? You might want to help women entrepreneurs in a certain demographic, in a certain category of business. Please narrow it down. Who do you have an affinity for? What does that mean? So I was coaching a young lady, and she is a financial advisor. And she was struggling finding her target market, and consequently wasn't making any money because she was too broad, and she was targeted around people who couldn't afford to invest. So I asked her, well, before you became a financial advisor, what did you do? She said, I was a speech therapist. Bingo. Speech therapist. Wow. Now, I said to her, have you thought about making them one of your target markets, one of your niches? She said, no, I hadn't thought about it. Well, you have an affinity for that group because you used to be one of them. You know their pain, you know their struggles, you know how to speak their language. Why would you not go back to that target market? And the light bulb went on for her. Ding, 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 ding. And now she is on her way to her 6-figure income because she chose a demographic that she knew very well. So who do you have an affinity for? The next one is who can afford your products and services? Who can afford your products and services? So I was coaching with another financial professional. In fact, I have a financial background. So one of my target markets are insurance and financial advisors. And that's why my stories are around that. So I was coaching another financial advisor, and her target market was single moms, and especially Black single moms. And I know that a lot of you listening are in that demographic, but let's keep it 100. Can Black single or single moms, period, can they afford extra money to invest? They might be able to afford $50 a month, $100 a month, but overall, that demographic can't afford to invest at a higher level. So what I encouraged her to do was to find the right target market that could bring her the money so that she could then create some sort of nonprofit to cater to financial education for those single moms. So make sure that your target demographic can afford you. And then what organizations cater to your target market? Find those organizations, get involved with those organizations, and we'll talk about networking in a minute. So those organizations are gold to you once you know your target demographic. So here's my quote. If your target market has the word body in it, then it's nobody. Somebody, everybody, anybody, then it's nobody, and you will not get to 6 figures that way. Strategy number 2, just make sure I didn't roll too far. Strategy number 2, get connected through networking. Networking is everything. it is many of you that are listening to this, you know Mr. George Fraser, and Mr. George Fraser is the grandfather of networking. And he says the number one problem with Black entrepreneurs is they don't know how to network. And I'm in agreement. We're going to talk about what does it look like? What does real networking look like? And making sure that you get connected on a level that you feel compelled to help somebody else first. So here's the problem. When you don't know how to network, when you're not consistently networking and building relationships, you're unknown. People don't know you. You're wasting a lot of time and money. You're going to the wrong places. You get very few referrals. So it's imperative that you learn how to network and why networking is important. Networking in the right places get you in front of your ideal prospects. It gets you connected. And remember, I said networking in the right places, which is critical. Many of you dislike networking because you're networking with anybody, everybody, and somebody. If I cannot emphasize this enough, you gotta have a target market so you know where you want to network. Then you get connected in that network. You start to serve that network. And then those relationships you develop will lead to key referrals. Trust me, I know. Now, there was a time I hated networking. I hated it because I would go to networking events, I'd pass out a bunch of business cards, and then go back to my office and wait for the phone to ring. Guess what? It never rang. So I was networking one time, and this was in 2005. I remember it vividly. I meet a sales and marketing coach, not unlike myself. At that time, I was a financial advisor. And I would say, you know, I've been doing a lot of networking. It's not paying off. What am I doing wrong? She said, you're not doing networking right. And if you pay me $6,000, I'll teach you how to network. Girl, I ain't got no $6,000. She said, trust me, if you find the money, I guarantee you, you will make your money back. Well, at that point, I was desperate. I knew I wanted my 6 figures. I knew I wasn't going to make cold calls. I knew that I needed to learn to network. So I did what I had to do, found the money, and invested in coaching. When I tell you that investment was the best money I've ever spent in my business, it truly, truly is. To this day, I've spent a lot of money in my business. But what I learned from that coach, I now teach my clients, and it is critical to your success. And when I'm speaking to a room and I ask how many of you love to cold call, I get 2 hands go up. People don't like cold calling. And now it's very difficult with caller ID and screening and all of that. You got 2 choices when it comes to prospecting for your business. You either cold call or you network. And I'm telling you now, you must learn the art of networking, or else you will go out of business and be a statistic. So here's a networking tip. Show up, be up, follow up to blow up. I made that up. How about that? Show up, be up, follow up to blow up. Now, networking today is not what it used to be. We are all virtual. But I will tell you, I've run a 6-figure business from my computer. Some of my clients I've never met in person. So when you go to virtual networking events, turn your camera on. Put your face on, ladies. Comb your hair, gentlemen. Put some jewelry on. Make sure you look good from the waist up. I don't care what you got on the bottom. And then turn the doggone camera on. Nobody can build relationship with a black box with a name in it, or even your beautiful photo. Show up. It's part of showing up. Be up. Have your energy. Introverts, I talk to introverts. Mostly introverts hire me because they know they got to get drastic. You got to be up. Miss Beyonce, she flips a switch before she gets on stage. When you see her in an interview, she's all soft and demure. Like, who is that? Well, you must flip on your inner Sasha, with whoever you want to name them, and be up. And especially virtually, because it's easy to fade into the background on a virtual networking. And then the fortune is in the follow-up. You must have electronic tools to connect immediately while you're at a virtual networking event, or be lost. So, and I don't have time, those one of those things I don't have time to go into, but you must show up, you must be up, you must follow up to blow up. And it's critical. This is Jamise. Jamise is my client. Jamise showed up. Her mother, she's an event planner, and her mother told her, Jamise, if you want to turn this hobby into a business, you got to network. She said, Mom, I don't want to network. She said, Jamise, find an event in your area. We happen to live in the same area. Jamise found it on Eventbrite and showed up. She sat in the back of the room, and I remember she was back there and she had her arms crossed like this. And when, you know, she had a great time, because this is when we met in person. My networking is highly interactive. So I could tell she had a great time, but when it was over, when we said amen, she was out the door. Next day, I get a text from her on Messenger, and she said, oh my God, that was the best networking event ever. And I actually own a networking organization called Network in Action. I didn't mention that earlier. And so she's like, I think my mom needs to do this in Oklahoma. And long story short, she went from not liking networking, not understanding the power of networking, to now she's a networking queen. She's doing her business virtually, and she moved out of her home office into a co-working space with me and several other members, all because she showed up. So here's your networking exercise. How many events will you attend a week? Virtual. I suggest, if you're not willing to make cold calls, you need to do 2 virtual events a week. You need to ask for 5 dates at each event. One-to-ones. How many one-to-ones? So one-to-one dates, 5 per event. That's 10 that you're going to schedule the week after the event. And then how are you going to stay connected and follow up with this new network that you are building? The other thing is what do you have to offer your network? You have to be a giver. You have to give sometimes before you receive when it comes to networking. So don't neglect the networking. It is everything for your business. And my quote here says, don't be mad at the good old boys, be like the good old boys. Whenever I'm speaking, and I speak to a lot of white audiences, I say exactly this. People are mad at the good old boys because they share the deals amongst themselves. But you know what happened? They met at some capacity. They started hunting, they started fishing, they started golfing, they started doing family barbecues. And when the deals came, they started sharing the deals with each other. The problem with us as African Americans and small business owners in general is we don't spend enough time in the beginning with the figurative hunting, fishing, golfing, and really spending time connecting. You need to do that up front, because then when the deals come, we know who we're going to refer and who we're going to share it with. Don't be mad at the good old boys. Create your own network. Be a good old boy. Build relationships, build affinities, and your business will get to 6 figures. You can pause and do the exercise. Number 3, speak more to sell more. Speaking, I know a lot of these speakers. You want to share your message. You want to touch, move, and inspire people to have a better life in a various way. When I first started my business, I thought I was going to be an international keynote speaker for financial companies. What I quickly found out is those gigs are far and few between to come by, and the financial world did not really want Black and women on their stages. So I had to adapt and pivot. I was pivoting long before COVID came. So I learned the art of using speaking as marketing. Now, if you look at this picture in the background, this is a national conference. I am the speaker in this conference, and there's about 60 people in that room. This is a wonderful way for you to get a one-to-many relationship, and the people who are in the room will raise their hand if they are attracted to you. So here's the problem. You're invisible, you don't have credibility, and you feel salesy. Speaking relieves all of these problems. So why is speaking important? Number one, it's instant credibility. If the organizer of that event found enough in you to put you in front of their people, you don't have to do a lot of hard selling because you got instant credibility because they trust that organizer. You can educate without being salesy. You can turn your mess into your message. You can become the go-to expert. So speaking alleviates a lot of the problems that we have as entrepreneurs when it comes to attracting people to our business. You must learn the art of speak to sell, not speaking for fee. And now I don't really want to speak for fee because usually when you speak for fee, they won't let you sell. And my programs are, one of my programs outweighs any speaker fee I would get. So it just makes more sense if I use speaking to sell. So where can you speak? Organizations and associations, local networking groups, conferences, videos is speaking, even on social media, be a podcast guest, radio interviews. These are just a few areas where speaking is beneficial to attract people to you and your business. Here's a speaking tip. Develop a signature talk that helps the audience to see that the speaking is not just about you going out, educating people, throwing up on them, telling them everything that you know, and then they clap, yay, and take no action. I've had that happen. I got sick and tired of that happening, and I had to get my own coaching and training to learn how to develop a signature talk that brought me revenue. I delivered a signature talk late last year. It was free in front of a free-minded audience, by the way. So I questioned that. Do I get in front of this free-minded audience? Am I going to get anything from that? I will tell you from that one talk, I had about 30 people there. 6 people scheduled a discovery session. 2 of them became clients, and I made $12,000 from those 2 clients. They would never have paid me a $12,000 speaking fee. But it is not just about developing a talk and educating people. It's about giving them the right structure, having the right structure of your talk. This beautiful woman here is Muncie, and Muncie is a financial credit restoration person. And Muncie, when I first met her, she was like, Tony, are you telling me I have to speak? Yes, ma'am. Are you telling me I have to network? Yes, ma'am. Are you telling me I have to do social media? Yes, ma'am. She was like, I don't want to do any of that. I'm an introvert. I'm private. I'm private. All you private people out there are missing out. I said, I know you're private. I didn't tell you to put you had a fight with your husband on social media, right? Please don't do that. I didn't tell you to share your meals on social media. I told you to share Okay, Tony, I'm going to get drastic. I'm going to do it. This girl is out networking, out social media, and out speaking me. I'm so proud of her. She's doing radio interviews. She didn't want to show her face. Look at her face. Why would she not want to show her face? She was in her head, not in her heart. And I really had to coach her around, this ain't about you. Do you really believe that what you do will benefit your audience? If you do, then you are robbing them. And I'm talking to y'all now. You are robbing them of the opportunity to change your life, change their relationships, change their money, change their business, because you in your head, because you private. So I'm telling you, Muncie, she embraced it. She got it. She understood. She understands the power of networking, and she was not going to make cold calls. So go ahead and flip the page to your next page. This is your Speak More to Sell More exercise. Do you currently use speaking to market your business? I know you probably want to do more of that. Who's your ideal audience? We're back to our target marketing, all that. You see how this all runs together? Once you get your target market, you know where to network, you know who to speak in front of, what topics will move your audience to action. Do you have a method to collect leads at your events? And how will you stay connected with those who weren't ready to do work with you at the event? Let's go back to the beginning of my talk. Remember, I told you, text the number, text drastic. You already have in your inbox my video. So whether you do business with me later, I get people from my email list that say, I've been on your list 5 years. I'm ready now. It started with networking or speaking. So pause here and answer the questions for yourself. And also keep this in mind before you pause. Speaking is the marketing strategy that gives over and over and over and over again. It's the best marketing strategy for your business. Number 4, use technology to stay connected. The problem, without technology, no one remembers you, you're not showcasing your expertise, and you're not in front of your ideal clients when they're ready to buy. You have to use email marketing, social media, text message marketing. It helps deepens relationships, it keeps you top of mind, and it allows you to showcase again so people will be attracted to you. Social media tips, use your personal page to build relationships. Build relationships, not likes. So the business page has its place, but a lot of people spend a lot of time building likes. You don't build relationships on a business page. You build relationships on a personal page. When you get your personal page to 5,000 people, then you can go over to your business page. Create a Facebook community. Create community, bring all of your target into that community and give them a lot of value. And the money is in Messenger. You ask for dates in Messenger, you build relationships in Messenger, you help people in Messenger. So these are my tips for using social media. So here's the exercise. What are your top 3 social media platforms? What will you do to leverage your friends and attract? How many offline requests for appointments will you make? And what are the buying clues you can watch for in social media? As an expert, a coach, an author, people tell you all their business, especially on Facebook. And those are buying clues or selling clues for you. So if someone just got married, for instance, they need life insurance if you're a financial professional. Congratulate them, then go over to Messenger and say, I'd love to help you to make sure your family is protected. If you're a realtor, people tell you change of life all the time. And so pay attention and offer value. Don't just say, buy from me, offer them value, build a relationship, and social media relationships turn to business. Number 5, develop your sales muscles. And he fine. Okay, I digress. Develop problem is too many business owners hate sales and they stay away from the sales conversations. They hem haw, tiptoe around. You put too much time on non-sales related activities. You're adjusting your website, you're writing blogs, you're posting on social media. All that stuff is important, but you gotta spend your time on money generating activities. You don't want to be salesy and you are not following up. You don't have the systems for following up and you're not picking up the phone and following up. It's a major problem for small business owners. So here's my 6-figure sales strategies. Let me say this. You can't get to 6 figures without sales. No deposits, no 6 figures. So please learn how to effectively generate leads. Stop cold calling. You're probably not doing it anyway. Be intentional with your sales. Have a discovery process. What are the questions you need to be asking your prospects? Another reason for target marketing, because then you know what questions and what pains they already have. And then know your worth and charge it. Many of you are not charging enough. And it's because you have a weak target market. And so everything goes back to target marketing. So here's my sales tip. Learn to like sales. People say to me, but Tony, can I hire someone to do the sales? You could, but what if they leave you? Then what? As a business owner, you are responsible for bringing in the dollars. If you hire someone, they are helping you. They are not primary. Never leave grocery shopping or cooking, otherwise you would starve. So develop your sales muscles. What are your prospecting activities? Turn in your workbook. Answer these questions. How many prospecting activities are you doing per week? How many sales presentations or strategy presentations are you doing per week? How many follow-ups from previous week's calls? And how are you tracking your follow-up? Listen, you guys, the fortune is won and lost in the follow-up. You need to be a winner and follow up like a champ. You will never get to sell 6 figures if you're not telling people your price. If you're not priced right, if your offers are priced too low, you will be out of business. And I'm passionate about helping you to see that you've got to have these sales conversations. All that other stuff is nice to have, but it will not put money in the bank account. Here's a Val, beautiful Val. Val is my client. We kept in touch, met her 8 years ago. She was actually in one of my first books. And then we lost touch, but we stayed connected on Facebook. I did a Facebook Live. Timing, God's timing is interesting. I did a Facebook Live and she commented, hadn't seen her in years. I said, Val, I miss you. Let's catch up. My catch up calls are my prospecting calls. So we scheduled, I said, here's my link. She scheduled a prospect or catch up call. What are you up to? What are you up to? You bought a networking franchise, she said. I need to network. I got a new business. I'm a copywriter. I was like, I need a copywriter. I have a conference coming up. I don't know what I'm writing. We partnered. I paid her. She paid me. She's my coaching client. Remember, I'm the coach that connects. I've connected her internationally within very quickly because so many people need copywriting. So here are my strategies. To recap, get your target market, know who they are, where they are, and go after them. Use networking to build relationships to be able to turn those contacts to contracts. Speak more to sell more. Speaking is the number one way to attract people to you. Use your social media, technology, email, text message marketing, and then learn the art of sales, because without sales, you will never get to 6 figures and beyond. So I'm going to allow you to take a look at this. I'm not going to go through this line by line, but it's time for you to get drastic. And if you're a speaker, coach, author, expert, I want to talk to you. Plus, I have a network. So if it's not me, I can refer you to someone else. I'm always trying to help and build my network. You already know what it's like to experience mediocre results. You already know what it feels like to have a bank account that doesn't reflect how good you actually are. And you know it's time to get drastic. So we have a program. I have a program that matches exactly how you feel. Here are some of the details of the program, but there are even more. So I'll let you go back to the recording and pause and read each of these. My program is very robust. I would love to work with you and help you. And I'm also certifying drastic results coaches. So if you're a health coach, relationship coach, money coach, or business coach, I would love to talk to you about getting certified under my program so that you can use the Drastic Results brand and you don't have to start from scratch with your coaching. So if you know you're ready to have clients and customers beating down your door, you're ready to have more speaking engagements than you've ever imagined, and you're ready for drastic results, this is it. Schedule your Get to Six Figures Now strategy call. Go to meetwithtonyharristaylor.com. Again, that's meetwithtonyharristaylor.com. Click book appointment. Click on Get to Six Figures Now. Let's spend 30 minutes together. See how I can help you. If I'm not a good fit, I know a ton of people and I can make a recommendation for you. Plus, I just want to know who you are. Again, that's meetwithtonyharristaylor.com. Like all of my pages, you can go to Facebook and you can put in these URLs. In fact, I ask you to pause here, go over to another tab, and go ahead and connect with me. Join the sixfigurenetwork.com. That's my free Facebook community, or you can just go to Facebook and search for the Six Figure Network. And there I offer a lot of value, information, tips, and strategies on how to grow your business to six figures. I have a partner in that group. Her name is Tish. You might even find her in this iconic. So go ahead and listen to her as well. But join my community. That's where relationships truly are built. I have a TV show, the Drastic Results with Tony Harris Taylor TV show. So subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on all the other social media platforms. I want to thank you for this opportunity to pour into you my strategies to get you to six figures and beyond. I want you to please remember, nobody gets to six figures without getting their sales game. You must learn how to network, how to have a target market that will pay you your price, how to connect through technology, and how to generate more sales. Remember, meetwithtonyharristaylor.com, and I look forward to hearing from you. Bye.
Greetings, this is Brother Bedford, and I want to talk to you about an industry that I stumbled into 21 years ago. I don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to kind of breeze through this thing as quickly as I can, but I don't want to miss anything. This industry is literally, when I stumbled into it, it was $100 million, or just barely cracking $100 million a year. Today, this same industry is almost $1 billion a day, not a year, $1 billion a day. Now you're probably saying, well, what is this industry, Brother Bedford, that has grown like that and is continuing to grow and is exploding as we speak? This is the packaging and taking your knowledge, your experience, your expertise, or your passion, and turning them into products and services that can be, people are learning, self-education. Now, back then it wasn't online when I started as much, but now it's the norm. Self-education, online education is what everyone is doing. So it's $1 billion a day industry. So let me tell you how I started in it, why I got started in it, and show you how I evolved with the industry. And then I invite you to come to my workshop, because I can't give you everything here in just these few minutes that I have with you. But I do want to give you just enough to let you know how possible this is for you and why you should join me in my workshop in just a few moments and I'll show you the power of leveraging virtual communities, networks, and masterminds. That's kind of where this industry has gone now. It started from me selling PDF documents to now running networks, online networks, and communities and masterminds, and really leveraging a worldwide, a global audience, and really waking up to my 4 favorite words. And I'll tell you what those words are, and I'll tell you how I got there, but it's notification of payment received, or some of you may see new order placed. How do you separate yourself from the regular grind of trading time for dollars? That's what this industry is all about. This is literally freeing up a lot of people. Now, a lot of people are stuck. They can't make the pivot. They can't readjust. But I'm going to give you a couple of things to let you know how I did it and how you can do it as well, and how you should be moving towards this. So when I stumbled upon this, I was in the real estate industry, and I was having a degree of success. And the real estate guru who was training and teaching me, or I was buying his courses and attending his workshops and boot camps and all of these different things, he invited me to a conference in Orlando, Florida. And this conference had nothing to do with real estate. So I was a little leery at first. But then I said, you know what? I haven't gone wrong with purchasing all of these home study courses and attending everything else for with this guy. Let me go ahead and give it a shot. So let me tell you the first few things that I noticed when I attended this workshop or this conference. It was an actual conference in Orlando, Florida. First, I was one of a few in terms of Black people in the entire room, over 2,000 plus attendees. And I had to be either one of 3 or one of 4. There was no more than 4 of us, and really scattered out around 2,000 plus attendees to learn this industry of packaging information and selling it. The next thing that I noticed was that some of the biggest companies, direct response marketing companies, and really individuals were in this room. I'm speaking of the Agora Publishing. I'm speaking of the Gary Halberts, the Dan Kennedys, all of these people who are famous for writing newsletters and conducting these very expensive, back in the day, infomercials that you see every Saturday. These were the people who were behind the scenes. Agora Publishing, the #1 publisher of all of the different financial newsletters, really making hundreds of millions of dollars per month publishing information. They were all in this room, so now I'm really intrigued. Now, the third is that real estate guru in this room on that stage revealed that he made more money selling the how-to product, the home study courses, than he did in investing in his local real estate market. Now, after thinking about it for a second, I said, well, I guess it makes sense, right? So because the real estate market was local, but when he taught the how-tos to people who were all over the country, he went from a local business to a national business just by the information of how to do this. I was intrigued. He used another term called long-term value of a customer. So what is that? And he talked about how once he acquired a customer, how they became worth at least 25, 30,000, and some even more than that, 100,000. But he talked about $25,000, how much that customer was worth to him. And then I started doing the math. I was like, well, let me see. I purchased that course for $2,000. I did go to that boot I did spend. So I was one of those that was worth 25,000. This guru. Now I'm really, the next thing that gave us the license or the opportunity to purchase the license so that we can go out and teach or sell this course to others. So that was another way that you can sell information. So I purchased the license. It was probably like $597. The license told me that I could sell the home study course, which was 2 thick manuals, right? Which was really just a transcript of the cassette tapes. It was 16 cassette tapes that were in this course. So now I'm knowing that I'm really touching some of you who are watching this because you remember buying those cassette tapes and the VHS tapes and of Les Brown and Zig Ziglar and all of these people. See, you were purchasing information products. You were purchasing information. Probably didn't look at it as a business, but that's what you were doing. You were spending the $400 to $500 on the home study course like I was. And in Detroit, Michigan, I classified ad in the Michigan Chronicle up there. And people ordered or they asked for the free report, which was nothing but a sales, just selling the course, the free report, sent it to them. And then 2 people sent me one check and one a money order for $3 to purchase these 16 cassettes. So now I had to go to the Kinko's and duplicate the home study course. So I had to duplicate the 2 manuals. And then I had my high-speed cassette duplicator where I could tape from this cassette over to that cassette rather quickly. And I created those 16 cassettes, and then I would packages and sent it out in the mail from Kinko's. And I don't know, $30, $40 to put together the package and send it out. Making dollars was the profit in this information. So I kept everything else I sold from that course that I now own the rights to was mine. This entire course was all about just packing newsletters, the home study course, all of these. But there was one tape number 7. I'll never forget it. Tape number 7. And this was all new now. Again, close to 2 years ago now. Tape number 7 said, start what's called an, right? You purchased the domain from GoDaddy or whatever we did. And I remember this up. So everything was slow. We had to build out these web pages with HTML code, nothing like today. It's an industry that nowadays is so easy to get it started, where we had to run your credit report to get, you can just go get Stripe or something like that. So it said, start this page. That page is called howtobeabblackentrepreneur.com. I let all my friends know, gave me their email. They joined this page. They went to howtobeabblackentrepreneur.com to join my e-zine. That's what we call the online. It was an e-zine back then. 100 people to join. I started asking money flipping those. So I typed up the Adobe document. It took forever online. It was about 11, 12 pages that I gave. It was around 11. Really been 2, but I did a lot of white spacing to try at least look like it was valuable. For $7, I went and got my PayPal account. And then I just sent out an email. I didn't even have a sales page. Everyone, you go up and flipping ugly houses, and then how to make $1,000 a month flipping that ugly houses. Uploaded email. Way I was nervous. I said, I don't think. Avoided my computer. Then I finally opened it up, and there were words, my 4 favorite words. Notification of payment received. Notification of payment received. notification. I said, this is it's broken. So I refreshed the screen to see if it worked. And there they were. Went to the next page. There they were. And so over the next day and a half to 2 days, we kept getting these $7 notifications, over 200, around 212 reports. Easiest $1,500 made in my life. But it was so easy. I'm hooked. See, set up a corporation or contract, learning, and now I'm putting it, selling it online. Here's the point I want you to read. So now I'm taking information, something that I know how to do, something that I have, and we're making money. But it doesn't. Read one from one of these internet marketing gurus that I had started studying. And that book was called Conversations with Millionaires. Now, these were the physical books. I'm reading this book. There was only one Black person in the book. It was Wallace Cookies. I don't know if you remember him. The idea hit me. Wouldn't it be nice? Someone interviewed our millionaires and put it in these little reports, put it in an ebook, sell it online. And I did. So the two books that I was by, and Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice by Dr. So I called down to Cleveland, Ohio. I say, this is Brother Bedford. I have this idea. My Black millionaires, and he's like, oh, which would be interesting. It really just deflated my ego. I mean, everything that I'm just really shot me down. And we went back and forth for some. Then I said, I tell you what, let me my number, and if Dr. Frazier's interested, he can give me a call back. She said, okay, you can leave it. Why don't you try back in 6 months? But around 5 minutes later, my phone rang. I answered the phone. I heard airport noise. George Frazier. But we can't do it like this. I need this 800 number. Then I call into this 800 number. It was a bridge line. I can interview you. He said, in around 20 minutes, we can do it. That conference call line was free, call.com. He called in. We talked for about 40 hour and 45 minutes. Or Dennis Kimbrough's. He called back. Kimbrough, here you are. So yeah, we interview. Just kept going. And then Kathy Hughes and Michael V. Robinson and Randall Pinkett. After he won The Apprentice, there was Lisa Nichols, and we just kept going on and on and on. Those first 12 interviews, though, we stopped, and then I said, let's get these. These were the audio. I took those audios and sent them over. Starting up then, it was called transcribed. Took those first, converted them, and called them. I was reading that book called Conversations with Millionaires. Now I call this Conversations with Black Millionaires. Sent the list. So book, we were calling it ebook, and this was before Amazon. For a quick press release. This millionaire advisor gets it. All of these. And that was Black, my buddy and friend now, Dante Lee. Now I'm getting all of the requests from media outlets, local news stations. So every time a station or a town, they would invite radio station shows on Black business and all of that. Teacher, what did Les Brown teach you? Then they say, well, how do they look? Black millionaires. And it was on and popping. So tens of thousands of those down. So I want you to follow me real quick. First, I took my own knowledge, my expertise, my passion, something that I enjoyed doing, and I taught it, put it in a PDF document, And then I just interviewed and leveraged the knowledge and experience, the reach and the authority of other experts and thought leaders. And in this case, it was millionaires, but it doesn't have to be millionaires, experts and thought leaders. Just know what the hell they're doing. And people want to learn. We're in this space now where people have come to the online world. Virtual learning is not just, that's not difficult to understand. That's a thing now. The entire world is learning virtually. So we sold those, and then we just kept going and started doing teleseminars and webinars. And now, fast forward to today, now we're doing masterminds online and networks and membership sites and all of these different things that we've been doing for years now. But now it's becoming commonplace. So now that's what makes it $1 billion a day industry. And you should be getting a part of this. You should be taking your knowledge, your experience, your expertise, or your passion and packaging it and selling it online. And if it's not your knowledge or your hobby that you want to teach, I just told you how you can interview and partner and leverage other people. So I'm doing a workshop that I want you to come, and I'm going to show you the power of virtual communities and networks and masterminds and how you can get those notification of payment received or new order place. There's a bunch of different payment gateways now that have different terminology. So I want you to join me in my workshop. As soon as you get off of here, just find my workshop. And what I'm going to do is give you some more strategies. I'm going to share with you some tools, or the tools that I use, and I'm going to answer your questions. We're going to try to build your information empire right now, your notification of payment received empire in the workshop. In the interim, though, I want to make sure, because a lot of my friends that I've met over the years, I started to profile them, and I'm doing case studies of over 50 of them. And if you want me to begin to send you these case studies where you can see all of the different business models that people are utilizing to make money in this virtual space, just go to thevirtualmillionaire.net, not .com, .net, thevirtualmillionaire.net. Okay, so now I'll send you those case studies so that you can continue to feed yourself and learn how to do this yourself. But I want to thank you for sparing me a few minutes of your time. Again, come to the workshop, answer your questions. All right. Look forward to seeing you in a few minutes. Talk soon. Take care.
For this panel discussion on what does it truly take to be successful. And I'm super excited to be joined by these three phenomenal queens. And we get to have this juicy conversation about what it means to be successful. What I liked about this topic is that success is defined differently for each person, because what may be successful to me may not be successful to you. And so we get to have this conversation that is going to include, diversity and a well-rounded, opinion or representation rather, from different backgrounds, whether it is industry or just socioeconomic status, which also includes the way that we were raised, because I'm sure the way that you all were raised shaped your definition of success as well. And so I am really excited to have this conversation. And so just to kind of give you guys a little bit of information about myself. And so I go by the Conscious Cash Flow Activist because I care about how you bring money into your household. I've been a part of the Black CEO organization now for a little over 3 years, and it has been amazing, as I like to say, the opportunity where we are showcased, where we are highlighted, and where we get to lift our voice and we don't have to wait to be invited, to a table, but the table is actually set for us. And so I really enjoy this organization and everything that this organization has to offer for us in the world, especially for us Black queens. And so without further ado, do round robin, and if you all can introduce yourself. And so I will start with you, Tasha. If you can tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and how you show up in the world.
Absolutely. Well, my name is Tasha Robinson White, and I grew up in Lansing, Michigan. I studied in college in Atlanta, Georgia at Spelman College and the Alliance Theater School. I currently live in Las Vegas. I've been here for 26 years, minus 2 of those years I spent time abroad living in Cairo, Egypt. I am an innovative leader with a network of influence to empower others. I call myself the Vanguardian because I am in vanguard. I am the forefront of movement and action, and that's how I show up in my community. I'm a connector and a collaborator, and that I lean on that as my superpower. And I'm really excited to be here today.
Awesome. Okay, all right. Well, Angela, you're up next. Okay, we just lost Angela, so I'm going to go to Regina.
Hello, my name is Regina Nunnally, better known as the Preacher Kid sensation, PK, if you follow me on Instagram. And I am a criminal defense attorney. I've been practicing for almost 18 years, but I'm also a mental wealth builder. And so I created an ecosystem through my eyes, LLC, where I endeavor to help people to see the world through a different perspective or new eyes. Because my belief is that a renewed mind creates a renewed lifestyle. Thank you.
Well, I love it.
I love that.
Me too.
Yes, snapping it up. Yes, absolutely. What the two of you do is just really amazing. And the way that you show up in the world, we're just brilliance all day long. We just really are. And the way that we show up and how we decide to be the answer, is really phenomenal. And so with our first round of questions, I want you all to just answer, what does success mean to you? What does it mean to be successful? And so the first part of it is, as a child, what was your kind of thought or your definition about success? And then how has it changed as you have matured and you are a little older? I know for me, when I was a teenager, there was just things that were not exposed. So at 18, I can remember at 18 really being crystal clear that I was going to be an entrepreneur. I knew that. I didn't know the journey, but in my mind at 18, I kept telling myself by the age of 50, I'm going to be independently wealthy, right? And so I didn't have it all laid out. I just knew, and I didn't know what that number was. I just knew that at 50, I was going to be independently wealthy. And what that meant for me was not being able to depend on anyone for anything, not depending on a 9 to 5. So it was less about a number and more about independence and freedom. And so I will start with you, Regina.
Well, my definition of success is and was forged with my father. Taekwondo, when I was in it for about 2.5 years, and then I started to get that itch that teenagers get. It's boring. The friends are not anymore. The guy that I had a crush on, he stopped coming. And so now I was just like, I didn't want to do this anymore. So I told my to quit. And so when I told him I wanted to quit, I thought I was going to get the fire and brimstone kind of thing, because my parents was all about, they don't like to throw away money. And so to my surprise, I said, okay, you can go ahead and quit. And I was word. All right, okay, that's all right. The hell song for it. But he put his butt in the way, and he said, but if you're gonna quit, he said, give back all your trophies, give back all the belts that you earned, because my instructor was an experienced, was that expert kickboxer. And so we had to spar and fight for our belts. We just didn't give them to us. So I told my dad, I was like, well, why you want me to give all this stuff? And he said, because I don't want you reminded of the fact that you quit. You look at those things and it will remind you of how far you went, but how short you came. And so from that day on, my mantra has been finish what you start. That's my definition of success. Finish what you start. You get up in the morning, you get through the day, you know, that's a success story. You know, if you finish your goal, whatever that is, and you come out sane, that's success. And that really changed over my period of time. It has not changed. It's been my mantra forever to, you know, put my hands to the plow, don't look back, focus, and get across that finish line.
What an invaluable lesson. I mean, that's priceless. That is absolutely priceless. And, you know, it just made me think of too oftentimes how we don't have that opportunity to have lessons like that. And so what happens is we kind of make a whole lot of mistakes along the way. I never told us, you know, it was a parent or, you know, or whatever. And that was such a great lesson. That was a great lesson. So thanks for sharing that. Like that was really awesome. All right.
I have a couple of different definitions for success. One, first of all, personal, and it's a mindset. He was coined the quote, basically, peace is the new success. And I basically embrace that, because being peaceful and being happy should be where your success begins. Now, early on in life,